Hello, and welcome to the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel and a live watch-along of two games tonight. First and foremost, the Boston Bruins taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. That is the game that I will be watching along to here in the first episode. And then later in the night, Isha and Dylan will be watching along with the Vancouver Canucks taking on the Arizona Coyotes. If Richard Flores is on, he's probably not happy that I said that. But this matchup, Penguins at Bruins, should be a good one. Both teams, their first game back from the All-Star break. Both teams in playoff positioning in the Eastern Conference. So thank you to everybody that is tuned in here early. It's going to be a fun night. Like I mentioned, this is part one of a doubleheader here on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel, brought to you as always by the Hockey Podcast Network and DraftKings. Make sure you use promo code THPN at the DraftKings Sportsbook app for great odds and even better opportunities. Another quick shout out also before we keep going to Neil Villapiano, who was on last night at the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. He, along with obviously everybody else, is not to blame, but getting us to 1,000 followers and 1,000 subscribers here on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. Thank you to all the other hosts that have worked with me. Thank you to everybody that is tuned in, that is subscribed, that is liked, because without you, there is no Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. So thank you. You guys are truly awesome. And the comment section is already going crazy. My name is Nick Berlansky. I am the host of the Tip of the Iceberg podcast, covering the Pittsburgh Penguins for the Hockey Podcast Network. And tonight's matchup should be a really good one. So let me jump into the comment section really quickly. The Rapper says, congrats on 1,000. Thank you very much. Nimkis says, hi, what's going on? The Rapper says, what's going on? Danny, like I said, my name is Nick Berlansky. A lot of highs here. Love it. Faggio says, got confused on why there was two streams because I found the third stream when you found the Nucks game and couldn't find the stream. So I thought it was getting switched. Nope, we are going to have both. I will be here for this game. And then, like I mentioned, Isha and Dylan will be taking over at around 9:55. So in about 3 hours, they'll be taking over for that Nucks versus Arizona Coyotes. The Rapper's jumping on. Kat Connors says, what's going on? Hey, Kat. Hey, Kayla, what's going on? Thank you for tuning in. Faggio, thank you so much. 1,000 subscribers. I would like to think I play a little bit of a part in that, but Neil was obviously on the air yesterday. He got us over the hump, so shout out to Neil for that. The Rapper, hi, what's going on? The Rapper says, I created 10 accounts for Neil yesterday to get to 1,000 subscribers. That is true dedication there. But thank you to everybody for joining. Kat Connor says, go Bruins, which brings up a good point. Who are you rooting for? Let me know in the comments. Who are you rooting for and who do you think is going to win? Give me a score prediction in the comments. I'll throw it up here. My score prediction for this one tonight, I mean, it's going to be a tough battle. Like I said, both of these two teams in the Eastern Conference playoff picture, which is basically set with 3 months to go in the season, which is absolutely insanity. The only team that is even in position to make a run and possibly challenge for a spot that's not currently in one is Detroit, and their schedule is so difficult in the second half of the season. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But for the most part, the Eastern Conference is set, and this is a potential playoff preview. I mean, you never know where the Penguins are going to finish. The Bruins right now are a little bit behind the 8 ball in the Atlantic Division. They're currently trailing the Maple Leafs, the Florida Panthers, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. But you never know, especially with how this team has played. It's going to be an interesting second half of the season. It's going to be a fun second half of the season in the Eastern Conference, these two teams being paramount in all of it. Josh joining us here. What's going on, Josh? Thank you for joining. The Rapper says the Sens. Who are the Sens playing tonight? The Hurricanes is what I see. That's going to be a tough uphill battle, but the Senators played really well last night in their 4-1 win over the New Jersey Devils, so they looked really good. Front Row Productions jumping in. What's going on, FRP? I guess that we call you. No, I'm just going to call you Front Row Productions. Spoke to Jacob today. He said the Wi-Fi will be fixed tomorrow, and he said hello. Oh, I didn't know there was a Wi-Fi issue. So we shall see how this goes. What's going on, Danny? That is definitely the first time I've seen my name spelled like that. So I love it. I love all the differences here. Let's see. Front Row Productions. I want Boston to win because you hate the Pens. Hey, that is a fair assessment. Not everybody loves every team, but that's fair. Faggio, already jumping on this. Do I still believe that the Jets will come back? I know they're my dark horse, mine personally, team, but for after all the losses, you have no hope anymore. There's always hope. I mean, they have a good roster. Let me look at the standings really quickly. I know it's not looking great for your Winnipeg Jets and my dark horse, the Winnipeg Jets, but they still have a lot of talent. They still have the goaltending, and you never know how the second half of the season can go. We've seen the Oilers go from one of the best teams in the league to the worst team in the league for a stretch, and now they've won 5 of 6. So let's look over here. Winnipeg with 43 points. Yeah, it's looking pretty bad for Winnipeg. I guess that's the way that I'm going to say it there. Kat Connors says, hoping the Islanders get a good winning streak to the second half of the season. Hey, like I said, anything's possible. They had such a horrific start that if they do make the playoffs, it'll be one of the biggest turnarounds that we've ever seen in the National Hockey League. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But again, it might be just a sense with the Islanders to me that they might just be finally over the hump there where the age is starting to catch up to them. They might need a little bit of a youth movement, but we'll have to see what happens with that. Let's see who else is joining here. Danny likes the video. Thank you very much. If you are enjoying what you've seen, we're only 7 minutes in to what is going to be a 3-hour stream here on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. I will be watching along to Penguins, Bruins, and then Isha and Dylan from their brand new studio. There's a little bit of a plug there. Brand new studio. Isha and Dylan will be watching along to the Canucks and Coyotes later tonight. PLD is out with COVID tonight. Pierre-Luc Dubois. It's not a good help there for the Jets, who are already kind of struggling on the season. James says Jets need to retool. I mean, they got the pieces there. You wonder what they're missing. They really need like that. I don't know. I liked what they did on defense, but we'll have to see. But to get back into the game for tonight, and the one that I'm watching along to, Bruins versus the Penguins at TD Garden. That is more important in this matchup than it is in basically any other matchup in the National Hockey League, because the Penguins have only won at TD Garden in Boston once since 2014. That was last year. They won 4-1, and I believe it was like April or something like that. That was the only win that they've had since 2014, since before their back-to-back cups. So Boston has Pittsburgh's number for the most part whenever we get up into Massachusetts. The Penguins they don't play well there. And we're going to see what happens tonight. It's going to be a battle of, honestly, Boston's goaltending is a question to me, because they have 2 goaltenders that have played relatively well up to this point in season. And then you have Tuukka Rask jumps into there as well. So we'll see what happens with that. But tonight it is Jeremy Swayman for the Bees going up against the Pittsburgh Penguins, Tristan Jarry, the all-star Tristan Jarry, and the all-star champion that is Tristan Jarry. So we'll see what happens with that, but it's going to be a real good matchup here. Both teams missing a couple players. Trent Frederick on the Boston Bruins side, Tuukka Rask out with that hip injury, still dealing with it, and Jacob Zaboral is also out. Trent Frederick, to me, is the big name there, because when it comes to the Bruins and their success against the Penguins last season, a lot of it was due to the play of players like Trent Frederick. They were getting under the Penguin star skin. They were making them basically non-threats, and Trent Frederick was a big portion of that, especially when you look at Evgeny Malkin. Frederick was able to get under his skin, but luckily for the Bruins, they're not going to have to worry about Gino. Evgeny Malkin out. He is on the COVID-19 list. He self-reported himself over the All-Star break and is now going to be out for at least this game and the next for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So no Malkin, no Teddy Bluger, who broke his jaw against the Winnipeg Jets a couple weeks ago. Jason Zucker still coming back from a muscle surgery, so he's not going to be in the lineup. Drew O'Connor had a collapsed lung, which is his upper body injury. He's skating again, but he's not going to be playing. And Louis Domingue, the second/third string goaltender for the Penguins, is also out. So those are the injuries. Those are the goaltenders. That is the matchup. We are just seconds away from puck drop up in TD Garden. It's going to be a really good matchup. The biggest storyline to me heading into this one, obviously, you have a battle of 2 of the best lines in all of hockey, and that is the Boston Bruins. Technically, they have the perfection line. They haven't been putting them out on the ice together. It has been Marchand, Bergeron, and Craig Smith as that first line, and they dropped down David Pastrnak to try to spread out the scoring a little bit, because that has been the Bruins' biggest issue this season, secondary scoring. They haven't been able to get goals from anybody except for those top 4 guys, including Pasternak, as well as Taylor Hall has been pretty decent. He's fourth on their team in scoring, but they're trying to get a little bit more spread out. They're trying to score on all four lines, or at least on two lines, as opposed to just the one. Pittsburgh Penguins lately have been struggling with the same exact thing. The Penguins come into this game, obviously off of the All-Star break, but before that, they come in on a 4-game losing streak. They've gotten to overtime, gotten the pity point 3 times, but they've lost 4 games in a row. And the one common factor in all 4 of those games, no goals from their bottom 6 pairings, no goals from their defense. They've only had goals from Crosby, Malkin, Rust, and Gensel. One of those players is out tonight, so we'll see if somebody else steps up. One player that I have my eye on for the Pittsburgh Penguins is Danton Heinen. This is going to be his first game back in Boston since the Bruins traded him back in 2020 to the Anaheim Ducks. So a little bit of a revenge game there for Danton Heinen, who is going to be on the third line with Evan Rodriguez and Radim Zohorna. But this game, again, still waiting on puck drop here. You know the NHL, 7 o'clock puck drop, and we're at 7:05. They're still showing commercials. But we're getting closer and closer to puck drop up in Boston. Let's jump back into the comment section and see what is going on. Faggio not happy about the PL Dubois news. Also, Neil Pionk's out. Not looking good for you, Faggio. James says, go Boston, baby. So we got a pro-Boston comment section already. Love to see it. Hi, can I see your home? I'm not moving the camera. This is all a real big setup. Takes a lot to set it up. I'm not going to be able to move it. Let's see. James says Boston has this game. Okay, James, I like it. Let me know why you think they have it. I mean, the trends, if you look at the trends, it should go Boston's way. Penguins have lost 4 straight. They've only won 1 game here in the past, 8 years, 7 years, whatever it is. So I think that, it's going to be interesting coming off of the All-Star break, especially. A lot of these players are well rested now. A lot of top players on this game. A lot of fun. And looks like they're getting ready to get underway here. So let's see. Kat Connors says, Dad is a big Caps fan. Well, that's good. I mean, listen, I am, at this point in my life, I grew up rooting for the Pittsburgh Penguins because I grew up in Western Pennsylvania. Inherently, that's the team I went to. But at this point in my life, I have a deep respect for basically everybody in the National Hockey League, except for maybe the Flyers, because I don't know what Chuck Fletcher is doing. I don't really have respect for the way that he's running that into the ground, and I don't really care because he's shooting himself in the foot. But I have a deep respect for every team in the National Hockey League, and that includes the Caps. So shout out to your dad, who is a Caps fan. Let's see. Faggio says, Jets don't need to retool. All they need is a very good D-man at the trade deadline. That's going to be hard to come by because they're going to have to trade some pretty big assets there. I don't know who you're willing to get rid of at the deadline for a good defenseman. But before we keep going in the comment section, the sticks are down, the pucks are down, as friend of my show, the Tip of the Iceberg, Steve Mears would say. And the game is underway. There's a shot by Brad Marchand on to Tristan Jarry. He closes that down. And with that, we're underway here in this game. Let me go and switch over the flash score here so we can see the stats as we go. Flash score is updated since the last time I've done this. And I like the new setup there. I think it looks good. But let's see what we got here. Barry Bonds says, I love it. I feel the Penguins are due for a win. This might be the spot. I mean, look at the way that they played against the Washington Capitals right before the All-Star break. They played their game. They should have won that game if not for a fantastic performance from Ilya Samsonov for the Washington Capitals. So we'll see what happens tonight. Again, Swayman versus Jarry, 2 pretty good goaltenders this year. We'll see if they're going to be able to stand tall. The over-under at this game at show sponsor DraftKings is at 6 right now. I would say the under is pretty safe. I know there's a lot of high-flying talent in this game, but the Penguins haven't been able to score, at least going into the All-Star break as of late. In the Bruins, that secondary scoring is an issue, so they're going to rely on their top 6 as they usually do. So I would say if you're betting at show sponsor DraftKings, I would go with the under 6. Perry Bond says, never follow trends. Every once in a while, I think following trends is good. There's an opportunity for Taylor Hall. He shoots it. That would have missed the net anyway, but a nice early opportunity for the Bruins' second line, as now we see Pasternak going up against Jeff Carter in the corner in the Bruins' offensive zone. Trends, sometimes I think they're great. Sometimes I think they're hooey. Sometimes I think it's just statisticians saying that they know more, and sometimes I don't think it works. But we'll see. I think there's sometimes that it actually does make sense. And with the trend of the Penguins not winning only once since 2014, that's a pretty stern one, to say the least. Floyd Donnelly, thank you for joining the stream, says, go Bruins, go too much firepower. All right, well, we'll see. I have to see about that. I know normally that perfection line, or the three players that usually make that line up, don't always get the best of the Pittsburgh Penguins. It seems like Bergeron spends most of the game shutting down Sidney Crosby, which works to their advantage. But usually if anybody's going to go off, it is going to be Brad Marchand. So maybe look for Brad Marchand on the Bruins side. I already mentioned Danton Heinen, former Boston Bruin. He was drafted by the Bees. Mentioned him being a player to watch on the Penguins side. And we might get our first penalty of the game just a minute and 40 seconds in. See who's going to the box. And that is going to be Danton Heinen. So I said player to watch, and he's already putting his stamp on this game as he's going to be spending 2 minutes for, I believe, tripping. We'll see if the Bruins power play can take advantage. This is where this game gets very important. Both teams are absolutely phenomenal on special teams. The Penguins have the number 2 penalty kill in the National Hockey League. They'll get going here in the early on. And the Boston Bruins have a top 10 power play in the National Hockey League. So a battle of the ages here for special teams. And then you look at the other side, Bruins have a top 10 penalty kill. Penguins up to 11th on the power play. So the key to the game for either of these teams is stay out of the box. And the Penguins have already kind of broken that. Like I said, Bruins 4th power play unit versus the Penguins 2nd, going head-to-head here. And the Bruins get control early. Nice shot on goal. Tristan Jarry makes the blocker save. Let's jump back into the comments section here as the power play is going on. Liam Terry said he bets on the Boston Bruins. I like it, and there's a goal right there to make you look smart. That's going to be David Pastrnak early on, 2 minutes and a second on the power play, and the Boston Bruins out to an early start here at TD Garden with a 1-0 lead. Pastrnak slams home a 1-T past Tristan Jarry. Floyd Donnelly says, licking next, cash and checks, go Marchand. All right, I've never heard that, but I absolutely love it. So thank you for that. Kate Berry, what's going on? Kate says, let's go Pens. Kate's always here whenever I come on, so I appreciate you joining. Says it again for the people in the back. Let's go Pens. Let's see. Going down here. Barry Bond says, let's go Pens. Ottawa scored less than a minute in, so the Senators are off to a good start. The Penguins trying to get back in the scoreboard here after giving up that early goal. Not the start you want. And key to the game, stay out of the box. Heinen learned that early as the Bruins take a 1-0 lead on a early power play goal for David Pastrnak. Let's see what else is going on here. Faggio says, Pens 4-3 is your score prediction. I like that. I think it's going to be a close game. Either way, I think this game ends up being decided by 1 goal. So don't take the -1.5 wherever it is at DraftKings. Barry Bond says, let's go Boston. Wow, Boston. James asks where Neil is tonight. Neil has the night off. So we usually do a rotation here. Whoever wants to pick it up. Neil does probably more of these watch-alongs than any of us here at the Hockey Podcast Network, but he does a fantastic job. I've known Neil for three years now, and he is one of my favorite hosts here on the Hockey Podcast Network. The rapper says, yay, let's go, or yes, let's go. Floyd Donnelly says, Marchand will get one. I wouldn't put it past him. He usually does pretty good against the Pittsburgh Penguins and his good buddy, Sidney Crosby. But looking at this game now already, 2.5, 3.5 minutes in, the Pittsburgh Penguins at 5-on-5 are playing much better. That's somewhere that they have struggled, and play is stopped for a hand pass there. Evan Rodriguez went flying across the neutral zone, but to no avail, and the play is stopped dead. 3.5 minutes into the first period here. Bruins have a 1-0 lead on the David Pastrnak power play goal. The assist go to Taylor Hall, who picks up his 20th assist of the season, and Patrice Bergeron. So the top tier scorers for the Boston Bruins are exactly who is cashing in already. So we've seen a couple score predictions in the comment section. Let me know what your score prediction is if you haven't already put it in there. Faggio has Pens 4-3. I've seen a couple other score predictions in there as well. So let me know who your score predictions are and who you think is going to win in this game. Bruins already up by a score of 1-0 here. Faggio says, player to watch is Danton Heinen for you. Heinen, how about I make you watch me as I take this penalty as Boston scores? Yeah, I mean, hey, you can watch him. He made a difference in the game. To me, that's a player to watch. James says the depth of Boston will make Pittsburgh make mistakes. I don't think the depth of Boston is very good. That's not really a hot take. The depth of Boston has been their issue. They do forecheck pretty well, I will say that, but they don't score goals. And that's the whole thing with Boston. They create plenty of chances. They are one of the best teams analytically when it comes to creating chances, but finishing has been their issue, especially on that bottom six. So we'll see if they're able to get it. Let's see. The Raptors says hope Crosby gets a hat trick. Last time he banked it off the boards, and it went just like a geometry. So cool. Yeah, Crosby's hat trick goal in his own end. He said he didn't try to do that. Something tells me he tried to do that, and then he was like, I'm not going to brag about this. I don't know why, but the perfection that it went straight into the middle of the net as well. I don't buy that he wasn't trying that. Floyd Donnelly says Eric Haula gets 2 goals. I did like the Haula addition. I don't think that he's done nearly as well as the Bruins had hoped whenever they signed him. They were kind of hoping for a resurgence of Vegas Golden Knights Eric Haula, but there's a beautiful pass, and I don't know how that did not go in. I don't know if that was a beautiful save made there by Tristan Jarry or if it was just whiffed on by the Bruins offensive player, but I mean, there's another example. Great opportunity they created, but they're not able to finish. That has been the issue with everybody on the Bruins except for the big four, realistically, throughout this season, and honestly, Craig Smith as well. Bruins trying to get an opportunity here. Smith gives it over to Bergeron, who's going to send it over to Marchand. Penguins are playing shorthanded here. They're without Evgeny Malkin, who's on the COVID protocol. They're playing without Jason Zucker, who's missed a couple weeks already with a core muscle surgery. Teddy Bluger is a big player in their bottom six. He's also absent after playing the Jets and getting his jaw broken. So we'll see if the Penguins, who've played basically a couple men down the entire season, are able to get back into this game here, already down a goal. The Bruins so far have controlled a decent amount of play, but to be completely honest, it's been pretty fair back and forth on either side. I believe that's Charlie Coyle leading the rush. A nice opportunity here for DeBrusk. He shoots it in, shouldered off by Tristan Jarry, and that's going to be a penalty on Jake DeBrusk. The Penguins are going to head to their first power play of the evening, trying to tie this thing up just over 5 minutes into the first period of play here. Thank you to everybody that is tuned in right now to this hockey stream of the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Boston Bruins. We're doing a watch along here. My name is Nick Berlansky, host of the Tip of the Iceberg podcast for the Hockey Podcast Network. We cover the Pittsburgh Penguins at that podcast. Thank you to tuning in here. If you like what you see and you haven't already, drop a like down below. And if you really like what you see, not only do we have watch-alongs like this every single night, we have 2 tonight. So not only do you have me here talking about the Bruins taking on the Penguins, a little bit later tonight, you will have Isha and Dylan, the co-founders of the Hockey Podcast Network. They'll be joining from Vancouver Island as they watch along to the Vancouver Canucks taking on the Arizona Coyotes. So stay tuned for that as well. James, all over Boston tonight. I love it, James. A lot of comments. You're a big Boston fan. I can tell either that or you just really hate the Pittsburgh Penguins. Penn's on the power play now. An opportunity there for Evan Rodriguez. He shoots it, and that goes wide of the net. Pens have some pretty good offensive zone time here on the power play in the first 30 seconds, trying to get it set up here. Crosby takes a slap shot. That's deflected wide and retrieved by Chris Letang. He tries to send it over to Gensel. The puck is out and away from danger for the time being. The Penguins quickly trying to shuffle it back into the zone, though. When I think of these teams, Boston has always given Pittsburgh fits in Boston. But this season, if there's a year ever for the Penguins to be able to go into Boston and win, it would be this year. They started off poorly. Right now, they're sitting in that second wild card spot, so the Penguins have an advantage in the standings. The question is just, how are they going to be able to score tonight? Because they're missing a couple of their big guys. There's a nice opportunity for, I believe, Jeff Carter, and that one is swallowed up by Jeremy Swayman, who historically, if I remember correctly, whenever he's played against the Penguins, he's found some success. So Swayman in a favorable matchup here against the Pittsburgh Penguins as they show a replay of the opportunity for Brian Rust early on in this power play. Swayman swatting both of those pucks away from danger. So the City Life Project, Isha joining the stream, says, let's go Pens. That's different. Usually when you join, you try to go against me, I think just to get me rattled. But I love feeding off of people to go against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Honestly, I think it's great. So what's going on, Isha? Thanks for joining the stream. Make sure you drop a like. I'll drop one for you later tonight. I think I already did, actually, before I came on. But thank you to everybody again who is logged on here, watching this watch along. Thank you to everybody that is subscribed. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. Last night, we hit 1,000 subscribers. So thank you to everybody that has been a loyal listener, follower, watcher from the very beginning. But this game's still going here. Penguins have less than 30 seconds left on their first power play opportunity of the night. Kapanen gives it to Heinen over John Marino, who has been struggling this season. See if he can do anything with it. He sends it back over to Heinen in his revenge game. Heinen on the near board, looking for somebody, taking his time, not finding anything. It looks like everybody's kind of stagnant for the Penguins on the power play. That's going to deflect wide and maybe an opportunity for DeBrusk, but he just can't get out of the box fast enough before Boston-born and bred Harvard boy John Marino is able to get back there and get to the puck. So a little bit of a homecoming for him as well. For those Penguins fans on the stream that remember, John Marino's first NHL goal a couple years back was basically on a similar scenario like that, going the same direction as he came out of the penalty box, was able to go down and beat Tuukka Rask for his first career goal in his hometown. A great moment for young John Marino. And if you look at this season, if you're looking for great moments, you have to go back to not this season because he's had a rough year, especially in front of his own net. So we'll see what happens with that tonight. The Bruins might be able to take advantage of that if they can get to the front of the net and they could bully him around a little bit like some other teams in the National Hockey League have been able to do. Brian Boyle and the Penguins' fourth line now trying to get something going in the Penguins' offensive zone, but the puck comes out of the zone. The Bruins coming into the zone. I said the zone way too many times. That shot is deflected up and out of play. 11:36 to go in the first period of play here. Bruins lead at 1-0 on the strength of a power play goal by David Pastrnak. James, his score says Boston 3, Pittsburgh 1. I like it. I like I said, I like the under 6 at show-sponsored DraftKings. I believe the Boston Bruins were favored in this game, -1.5. So, listen, as of right now, DraftKings right on the money. Vegas usually pretty right. And as of right now, so far, so good, other than giving up a goal 2 minutes into the game. It's never a good look for the over-under, but things have settled down here just a little bit since that goal went in. So Penguins 0 for 1 on the man advantage tonight. It's going to be the biggest point of emphasis here for both teams, as both teams have top 15 specialty units on both sides of the puck. Bruins top 10 in both. They're dangerous in both. They're very good. And the Penguins have that 11th ranked power play, although that power play has been fueled in the last 12 games by Evgeny Malkin, who is not in the lineup tonight. They have been running at 33% clip since he returned, and like I said, out due to COVID. So that is obviously a big factor in this game. And Hikaru K's joining us as well in the comment section. What's going on, Hikaru? Thank you so much for joining the Hockey Podcast Network live stream of Penguins Bruins. Says this is going to be the same old Boston buries the Penguin story, 3-0, with the third being an empty net goal. Don't hate that either. Honestly, I like a low-scoring game here. I would say I do think that this is going to be a 1-goal game. So maybe if I go back to James's 3-1, maybe with an empty netter there, that makes some sense there. But Hikaru, you say 3-0 Boston, it just shades of the 2013 conference finals where the Pittsburgh Penguins couldn't score on the Bruins. But we'll see what happens with this game. The Penguins, as of right now, if they're going to want to win this game, it's not going to be able to be at the strength of Crosby, Gensel, Rust. That line at 5-on-5 is not going to be able to win them this game because Patrice Bergeron is going to do what Patrice Bergeron always does to the Pittsburgh Penguins, and that is shut down Sidney Crosby, keep him out of this game, keep him off the score sheet, and force the Penguins to beat them some other way, which they haven't been able to even score goals some other way in the past 2 weeks. So we'll see how that goes as the game progresses here. Floyd says 5-2 in favor of who? I would say you said Haula gets a goal too earlier, so I would think you think it's going to be 5-2 in favor of the Boston Bruins. How am I doing? I don't know if that's coming to me or Hikaru or somebody else in the comment section, but I'm doing pretty good. I'm having a pretty good day, and it's been a decent week so far. So thank you for that. Hopefully you're doing well too. Let me know how you're doing in the comment section. But let's ask a question here to talk about. I want to talk about these two teams and future perspective for both of them going forward. So let me know in the comment section, what do you think the ceiling is for these two teams? As Floyd Donnelly makes sure to let all of us know that it was the Bruins. I thought so, but little clarification there. How far do you think each of these two teams can go? Like, do you think either of them are conference finals teams? Do you think the Bruins really need to get up higher in the standings and not, it's just being a smartass, I love it, and not be in one of those wild card spots? Because if they're in a wild card spot, they're going to have to probably play one of the Florida teams in the first round. And that is not conducive to going far in the playoffs. If you're playing a Florida team in the first round, then probably have to play one in the second round if that's how the standings crumbles. But let me know what you think about these two teams and their future perspectives. How far do you think these two teams can go, at least as it stands today? Floyd says they both make it. Now, how far in the playoffs do you think they could go? I think that I think it's pretty clear that they're both going to make it at this point, just because the Eastern Conference is basically decided at this point. You look at how far apart the teams that are out of it really are. Like, they're very far out of it. It's going to take a tremendous effort or a tremendous collapse, on the other hand, for one of the teams that are currently out of it to make it, one of the teams that are in it to fall down. And honestly, with the talent that's on those teams that are currently in the playoff spots, I don't see that happening. So I do think both Boston and Pittsburgh are Stanley Cup playoffs teams this year. Now, the question is, which of them can go farther, or how far can each of them go? It's really a question. I don't think either of them are Stanley Cup favorites at this point. I really don't. And I said I was going to save this for the first intermission, but why not keep talking about it now as they cut to commercial break here at about 11 minutes in to the first period of play, as the Bruins lead it by a score of 1-0. Carl K says Boston could pull a run out of their rear just because they're Boston. Pittsburgh needs some sort of shakeup to make out of the first round. See, I do agree with you. I think the fact that the Penguins have lost in the first round for 3 straight seasons, if you even want to call the loss to the Montreal Canadiens, the play-in, a first-round loss. But honestly, with the Bruins, I think the Bruins right now, the division they're in is tough. Obviously, best case scenario, they match up with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And it's the best case scenario because the Bruins have their number. The Bruins are going to beat the Maple Leafs if they face off in the first round of the 2022 Stanley Cup playoffs. But realistically, if they have to go down a gauntlet of Lightning Panthers and they do it and they pull it off and they get to the conference finals, I don't know what's going to be left of them. But here's the thing. On the other side of things, the Metropolitan Division, if you're the Penguins, they might have to go through a combination of the Hurricanes and the Rangers, or the Capitals and the Hurricanes, and they're going to be out of it as well. So whichever way, the problem being the Eastern Conference is so stacked this season that the Western Conference champion might have an advantage just because they went through a little bit of an easier road. Basically, if I look at the Western Conference, my favorites are going to be Vegas and Colorado. And once one of those two teams gets past the other, it's going to be a huge upset if they lose. That's the way I look at it right now. Right now, Floyd says Boston to the second round. He thinks they're going to win a round and then get out and bounced in the second round. Okay, see, I like that. I think, honestly, I don't think that they can't take out one of the two Florida teams, but I think it's really hard to go back-to-back and take both of them out in a 7-game series. That would be difficult. Johnny Blaze, what's going on, Johnny? Says, love how the Leafs took care of Carolina last night. It was a good game. It busted up my 2-game parlay. I did take Sens and Hurricanes in a 2-game parlay, but it was a great game. And honestly, the Leafs need more wins like that against good teams to give them confidence, especially for a guy like Mitch Marner, who he was the main reason that team did nothing in the playoffs last season. To see him be able to go out there and play the way that he did and score big goals like he did yesterday, that's going to be huge for this team moving forward. So I was impressed by the Toronto Maple Leafs victory last night. I did watch that closely. Debbie Callahan joining us in the stream says, let's go Pens. What's going on, Aunt Debbie? Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening, as you always do. Penguins currently trailing 1-0, but they're leading on the shot marker 8-6, playing some pretty decent defensive hockey. I'd have to check in with a friend of the show, Jesse Marshall, about his vibe check for the Pittsburgh Penguins as of right now. He does a forechecking vibe check. If their forechecking is good, then they're going to play well. I feel like they've played pretty half decently. The Bruins haven't really been able to get out of their zone cleanly all that much. So maybe we see the Pittsburgh Penguins put up a fight here. It is only 1-0 at this point, and they have controlled a lot of the pace of play as Crosby takes the puck, shoots, looking for a redirection, but Swayman sees that all the way and gobbles it up against that big spoked B right on his chest. But as Isha says, and I've been pumping it out the entire night, thank you for joining. But after this, there's another watch along. You can join Isha and Dylan, the co-founders of the Hockey Podcast Network and the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel, obviously, as they'll be watching along to Canucks versus Coyotes. I know I'm going to be tuning in just to see that sick studio that they just redid. So tune in for that. Stay for the great analysis and great conversation. Jakey Hogan says, Boston going to win the cup. All right. Hey, listen, they were very close. Game 7 back in 2019. So they're not too far off of that. This team, they still have the top end talent. They might need a couple pieces at the deadline, but you never know what can happen as soon as you get into the dance. And honestly, Boston is the type of team, as Hikaru said, they're the type of team that could just go out there and they might make a run of it just because of the Boston freaking Bruins. City Life Project, Isha says, the Leafs don't need to win anymore. Come on, Isha. They need to win in the regular season. We need to see the Leafs get their hopes up just so they can get crushed in the first round of the playoffs again. Come on, you know the drill, man. Come on. You gotta watch them. Honestly, let them win the President's Trophy for all I care. They're probably going to lose in the first round still. Floyd says, watch out for Foligno. Surprisingly, I was surprised to see him on the fourth line for these Bruins. I thought he was going to be a bigger piece. Charlie Coyle just absolutely undressed Mike Matheson, and another Bruin went flying into the net, and the play is called dead. 62, I believe that is going to be Steen that just flew into Tristan Jarry. They blow the play dead, but an absolute beautiful hands play by Charlie Coyle. And Mike Matheson doesn't know whether to cry or wind his watch to take a phrase from the old great Mike Lang, but he just got absolutely embarrassed, and a great opportunity there for the Bruins before Steen just goes barreling in. I believe he was okay. He was nudged a little bit, so I don't think there should be a penalty. I don't think they called one, and they didn't. But yeah, definitely going to blow that play dead for sure. But thanks to Horwat, I haven't been able to check Twitter, but Jesse Marshall has not given the Pens a pass on the vibe check. Did he give them a demerit, or did he just not say anything yet? That's the question, because it's usually the first 10 minutes, I thought. So we'll see. Johnny Blaze says, Leafs cap off a 6-game win streak over Carolina. Nice. It's nice to see that they can beat the Carolina Hurricanes. Maybe if the Canes had, I don't know, Zamboni driver in net, it might have been closer. Johnny says, no, this time watch the Leafs. I will watch the Leafs. And honestly, I don't hate the Leafs nearly as much as Isha does. I don't know if hate's the word for it. It seems like hate might be the word for it. But realistically, how many times can they lose? They're a talented team. So we'll have to keep an eye on them. Trust me. If they do good, Johnny Blaze, I'll come back and give you the credit, because I don't know. It's like the Penguins at this point. The Penguins have lost 3 years in a row in the first round. I don't believe they're going to be a Stanley Cup contender until I see them win a playoff series. So the same thing goes for your Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's see. Jakey says, have you seen Brad Marchand wives' feet? No, I haven't, and I don't really care to. And Isha does say hate is definitely the word for it. Okay, I didn't want to put words in your mouth, but since you put it out there, yes, Isha hates the Toronto Maple Leafs, but I don't necessarily hate them. Just under 7 minutes to go here in the first period of play. Only goal still by the Bruins, but David Pastrnak, just about 2 minutes into the game, was able to get a power play goal past all-star Tristan Jarry, who, other than that, has been fairly solid. The majority of the great opportunities, I feel like, has gone to the Pittsburgh Penguins, though, and the Bruins are just getting a couple chances a little further away. The Penguins are playing a little bit better in front of Tristan Jarry, at least protecting the front of the net. Bruins getting a little bit of zone time here, so we'll see what happens with that, as the Bergeron line is, again, out there matched up against the Crosby line. You're going to see that matchup all night long, as you do every single time these two teams match up. Bruce Cassidy, it's like his wet dream whenever he sees Crosby and Bergeron out there at the same time, because he knows that, for the most part, Bergeron has been able to stifle Crosby their entire career, basically. Shots on goal sitting at 9-7 in favor of the Penguins. A nice little deflection back by Brian Rust, who has been absolutely steamrolling the entire National Hockey League this season. He is over a point a game. He's only played in 24 games, but I believe he has like 30 points in 24 games or something like that. Ridiculous numbers from Brian Rust so far on the season. Isha says that I hate Brandon Moreno, not the Leafs. I don't hate Brandon Moreno, okay? I just didn't think he was going to win. I knew Davison Figueiredo was going to come back and win that one. So, and if you like the MMA talk, there's something in the works for you. Not Isha. Isha knows about it. Isha's in the works, but there is something in the works for MMA talk. So if you like MMA talk, we'll have something for you coming up here, give or take sometime. I don't know when. I don't know a timetable. Floyd says, go Bruins, go. Listen, got a lot of Bruins fans in the comments section. I love it. I love going head to head. And honestly, we're going to see what goes on because right now the Boston Bruins are, I wouldn't say taking it to the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's pretty evenly matched on the ice as it stands, but on the scoreboard, still 1-0 in favor of the Bruins. There's a stretch pass for Kapanen, who just can't get to it, but he does negate the icing, so he does something there on the ice, and that is going to be deflected by Chris Letang, and a 3-on-1 opportunity for the Bruins. Taylor Hall takes it, shoots it, save made, and a redirect, scores! David Pastrnak with his second goal of the game, and the Bruins extend their lead to 2-0 against the Pittsburgh Penguins. A bad mistake, a whiffed puck by Chris Letang in the offensive zone. Bruins get to go the other way with their second line. Nice save made on Taylor Hall by Tristan Jarry. But again, 3-on-1, David Pastrnak does a great thing. There's a reason he's one of the best and biggest goal scorers in the National Hockey League. He stops in front of the net, gets the rebound, and all of a sudden it's 2-0. David Pastrnak ahead of the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's able to redirect that puck out of midair through the 6-hole of Tristan Jarry, and the Bruins lead it 2-0 here with about 4 minutes remaining in the first period. So Pasta out of the All-Star break with a vengeance, having a good game here tonight, and the Bruins lead 2-0. Penguins need to get something going at 5-on-5. Haven't really been able to do that in their last 4 games, and it would sting to come off of a long break, week-long break, and then all of a sudden you're on a 5-game losing streak. Honestly, it would be awful. Jumping into the comment section here. Jakey getting into the into the MMA, says Whitaker going to beat Izzy. That's an interesting take there. Zach says go Bruins. Welcome, Zach. Thank you for tuning into the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. Bruins have a 2-0 lead, as Zach says there. Woo, and that is David Pastrnak goal. Second of the game for him. Second of the first period for him. So we're going to be on hat trick watch early on here. And there was another opportunity. If he could have handled it, it would have been a nice opportunity for a natural hat trick for David Pastrnak, but not able to get the shot off on Tristan Jarry there. Assist on that goal do go to Taylor Hall, his second of the game. And Eric Halla does get in on the scoring with a secondary assist on that second goal for the Bruins. Swayman out of the net, plays the puck, and the Bruins start out again. So honestly, you couldn't have scripted this better for the Boston Bruins. Get an early power play, get the goal. Now you're up by 2 on a team that has only had 4 goal scorers in their last 4 games. One of them's out of the lineup, and you already shut them down on a power play as well. So Bruins off to as good of a start as you could imagine there. Faggio says, so do I need help on trivia or do I need Isha again here? By the way, no searching. I don't search. I'm ready for trivia all the time. I'm not going to say I'm always going to get it right, but I'm always up for a trivia question, Faggio. So bring it on when you need to. Isha says, Izzy's going to win. Love Bobby, but Izzy is generational. There's a conversation. Is Israel Adesanya, which I guess is the right way to say it. All these people changing their name after everybody knows it already. Is Izzy Adesanya the greatest of all time? Is he the GOAT? That's a conversation that people are having right now in the middleweight division. Other people say Anderson Silva, but I mean, they did fight and Izzy did win, but what would have happened if Silva was a little bit younger? That's a different conversation for a different day. Maybe on a potential podcast somewhere. I don't know. Hikaru says, how much more of a dumpster fire does the Blackhawks organization have to be before they force Rocky Wirtz to sell? It's coming. What happened last week, it is coming soon, especially, the way that he shut down his son, who was trying to actually answer the question. Yeah, it's probably coming at some point. Faggio says, oh my God. Johnny says, Boston is good, but not good enough. Not good enough for what? To go to the Stanley Cup? Because I think it is a stretch. I think that they could just randomly go off. I think anybody in the East this year, you get into the postseason, especially with some of those teams, you get into the postseason, anything can happen in the Eastern Conference. It's going to be a really fun Stanley Cup playoffs, at least in the East. The West is always going to be interesting as well, but I don't think it's going to be nearly as competitive this year. Faggio says the score on the screen's 30 seconds ahead of me. Yeah, that's probably right. Oh, there's an opportunity there. Craig Smith. I try not to look at the flash score because it is ahead of my feed. I have the ESPN Plus feed up, which is, flash score is basically instant updates, and ESPN Plus is a couple seconds behind. So I will keep an eye not on the flash score because it'll give anything up. Here comes Jake Gensel. Opportunity, shoots it, and it is saved by Jeremy Swayman. I guess that kind of takes out the purpose of me doing a whole play-by-play thing. But either way, you get to hear crappy play-by-play by me. Either way. Johnny says Boston will not get past Florida. Yeah, the Panthers are a tough out. The question that I have for the Panthers is really a similar question for Boston, is the goaltending. Is Bobrovsky going to be able to be good enough? Is Spencer Knight, if called upon, going to be able to step in and be good enough? Those are huge questions, especially coming into the playoffs, which is, obviously still a couple months away, still time to figure it out, but we'll see. James says Boston has it right now, first period with 30 seconds left. Oh yeah, they definitely have it going on. Let's see. Holly says, what is the best site for watching in the UK? I don't know. I've never tried it. Never heard anybody that's tried it, but try NHL 66. That's what we try here in the US. I don't know if that will work in the UK, but try looking that up. It's a streaming site, NHL 66. So James says, Boston is a dark horse. Make some magic happen. Again, I wouldn't be surprised. I think they're the least likely, them in Washington to me, which makes sense because they're at the bottom of the standings. But realistically, you look at those other teams, there's just so many more holes with the Boston Bruins and so many more holes with the Washington Capitals right now. And I mean, to that note, the Pittsburgh Penguins, if they're not at full health, there are holes right now. I mean, you look at their fourth line, there's not really, Brian Boyle's the biggest scoring threat on their fourth line. That's never a real good indicator of your team being able to roll 4 straight lines. Johnny, he broke it down for us. Toronto takes out Tampa. Florida takes out Boston. Toronto taking out Tampa, really? Okay. That wouldn't be as bad as Columbus taking out Tampa a couple of years ago, but that would be pretty close to me, no matter how good Toronto is. Them taking out them ending the Tampa Bay run it'd be just a heck of a way to start the playoffs. James says, I can see Boston upsetting a team ahead of them. Yeah, I could see, honestly, like I said, in the East, I could see anybody upsetting one team. But can Boston upset, Florida/Tampa, and then go up and play Florida/Tampa/Toronto, and then still only be halfway there? That's tough. James says, Pittsburgh, not sure. Yeah, we'll have to see. My pronunciation was wild of Adesanya. Yeah, I mean, I know that it's always been Adesanya, Israel Adesanya, but he did go on why can't I remember his name right now? He was able to go on to Ariel Helwani's show after his fight against, who was he fighting? Against Costa. When he faced Paulo Costa, he went on the day after that and he says, no, my name is Israel Adesanya. So I don't know. I know most people said and have always said Israel Adesanya, but I've heard him specifically say, no, it's Adesanya. So I don't know if he's just joking because he can and he's one of the best. Adesanya. I don't know why I'm keep going with this. Hockey Legend, what's going on? Hockey Legend 2012 says, what's up? What's going on, Hockey Legend? How about that Hank Lundqvist jersey retirement a couple weeks ago? Is that going to do it for the first period of play? That is going to do it for the first period of play. Been a fun period. Time has started to fly because of all the great people we have here in the comment section. Great conversations about the Eastern Conference playoffs. We could talk about the Western Conference playoffs too. We could talk about Israel Adesanya, whichever way you say it, he's winning this weekend. That's the bottom line because, I said so. Hikaru says, Boston can get hot at playoff time. The Pens can't. Not if they can't bring in a 25-plus goal scoring winger. I don't know if they need that because that is drastic. I think they need Jason Zucker back. I think he is much better and does many more things than people give him credit for. I know he doesn't score many goals right now. I think they need him on these lines to generate chances. But at the same exact time, the Pens, what I think they need is a big defenseman. I think they need a big defenseman, maybe not necessarily puck moving, but I think they go out and they get a defenseman. That's my hot take of what Ron Hextall is going to be looking to do here in the second half of the season. Before the trade deadline, I think he's looking defense, but we'll see. Johnny Blaze says all directions point to Cup going to the East, except for maybe Colorado. Again, I would usually agree. Honestly, I think the East is so much deeper than the West this year, and I think the quality of the teams are so much better. It's just a matter of, are they going to be burned out? Because you got to think, you got to go through a gauntlet whichever way you go through the East. There's no easy path to the Eastern Conference Championship this year. So the West, meanwhile, listen, I think the Kings have been great. I think the Kings are a tough team to play. Do I think going up against a gauntlet of the Kings, like if you're Vegas, if you have to go up against a gauntlet of whoever's the second wild card over there, and then you have the Kings Ducks, that's not nearly as bad as going through anybody in the top three in the Atlantic, going through Carolina, going through the Rangers. It's going to be tough for an Eastern Conference team to still have a lot of gas in the Stanley Cup. But if they do, I have to tend to agree with you, Johnny. I think the East is definitely a stronger conference this year. Jakey, going to the second fight, the second match, the penultimate match of the UFC event, says Tai Tuivasa going to sleep Lewis. Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time thinking Derek Lewis is going to get slept by Tuivasa, but I think that's just going to be, there's no way that goes the distance, right? They're both knockout specialists. Are we going to see, Derek Lewis do his weird serpentine thing, or are we going to see Tuivasa chug a beer out of a shoe? I don't know. Either way, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun to watch. So I will probably be trying to tune in. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping to tune in. At some point, I'll see it. Faggio says, wait, I thought Swayman was sent down. It said early on that Tuukka Rask dealing with a hip injury, probably just backpedaling from the surgery that he had on his hip. So if he's on the injured list, that's probably why Swayman is in there. But either way, I mean, you look at the Bruins, Swayman, Ullmark, those two are basically interchangeable. They've both had 9-10 plus save percentages on the season. So Carter says they need a shooter. They don't need people who can't finish like Kapanen and Zucker. I do agree. Listen, the problem is Kapanen is supposed to be a guy that can finish. Zucker initially was. At this point, I don't see him as a finisher. I see him as somebody who can help. Like, honestly, right now tonight, I like the third line for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I like Big Zed, Big Zahorna with Rodriguez, and who's also on that line? Rodriguez and Heinen. But if I had put, if you put Zucker on the left side instead of Zahorna, that line gets so much better, and it opens up opportunities for a guy like Rodriguez, who, if he gets hot again, might be that shooter that you're asking for right there. I think the Penguins overall aren't going to make many big moves. If you watched Brian Burke's press conference from last week, it seems, obviously it's GM speak, it's president of hockey ops speak. He seems content with this team. So they might do the same thing as the last year. They might go and just reward this team with one extra player that might give them a little boost. They did that with Jeff Carter last year. I just don't think they're willing to get rid of too many pieces. Like if somebody adds in a Poulin or a Legare, despite them not being great at AHL Wilkes-Barre this year, I don't think they're going to be able to get rid of one of those guys for this stretch run unless it's for somebody that's really good. They're trying to build up the cabinet, and those two guys that I just mentioned are kind of like middle tier guys. The rapper says, sad Pens down. Yep, Pens are down 2-0 after the first period to play. 2 goals by David Pastrnak. One on the power play, a beautiful shot right past Tristan Jarry. Second goal was, going to the dirty areas, stand in front of the net, gets a rebound on a 3-on-1 opportunity from Taylor Hall. He puts it away there, and that is why we are at 2-0 right now. Penguins need to find something at 5-on-5. They need a bottom 6 goal. They need somebody besides Crosby, Rust, and Gensel, because that line is going to be shut down all night by Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand, and Craig Smith. So let's see. Jake says shoeies will happen. Houston. All right. Hey, we'll have to see. Johnny Blaze asks, where did the Rangers come from? Fantasyland? They've been building on this very quickly, the fastest rebuild in the West, basically. They rebuilt, they got a little bit of luck with Lafreniere and Kakko, but even if you look at it, those guys aren't really playing a pivotal role for that team. They went out, they spent the money, they showed that they are the New York Rangers, they can spend the money, went out and got Panarin, and really since then, they got lucky with Mika Zibanejad going to the level that he is. Listen, he's always been a good player, but the level of goal scorer that he has turned into, that is something that they did not foresee. They can say that they did, but they didn't. So they've came out of nowhere. It might be a year too early for them, but I mean, with Igor Shesterkin, he's going to win the Vezina. I mean, barring a monumental collapse, Igor Shesterkin is your Vezina Trophy winner. Again, there's a reason he is in the conversation to potentially be a Hart finalist this year, not just a Vezina finalist, but a Hart finalist. So the Rangers, it might seem like they've came out of nowhere, but the last couple of years, they've slowly been building to this. They'll be in the playoffs for the first time of this new core. Will they be able to go far in it? I don't know. I think it might still be a little too early, but I like what they look like. Hikaru says, the worst part is the only prospect the Pens have that's supposed to have any finish is Legare, but even he doesn't project as a top 6 guy right now. Yeah, the Penguins don't have a great prospect pool. So if they're looking for help from Wilkes-Barre, there's only one guy, in my opinion, that could come up and help this year on the offensive side. Obviously, P.O. Joseph is what he is. We think that he's ready. He might be just a tad off so far. There's a reason they're letting him marinate in the minors. He's probably going to be a guy next year. But forward-wise, the one guy that I could think that could come up and actually help scoring-wise, he's a healthy scratch tonight, and that is Valtteri Puustinen. He's leading the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins in scoring. He is built as a scorer. Danny Shirey Irving, who's on Penguins Twitter from DK Pittsburgh Sports, he described him as an undersized player, but doesn't play like it. If that sounds familiar, that is the whole mantra of all of the call-ups back in 2016. So that excited me a little bit about a guy like Valtteri Puustinen. Again, he's not in this game. Maybe we see him against Ottawa. Maybe we don't see him at all. We'll have to see about that. But if I'm waiting on anybody from Wilkes-Barre, it's going to be him. James says, boom, bang, Boston. So far, that is the exact formula for this game for the Boston Bruins, as they are up 2-0 on the Pittsburgh Penguins here in the first intermission. Feel the Thunder says hi. What's going on, Feel the Thunder? Repping the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions in your Avi. I like to see it. I love to see it. Justin says Pittsburgh sucks. As of late, I wouldn't say they've sucked. They have not been good. They have not been winning hockey games. They're 0-1-3 in their last 4 games, and of course, trail here by multiple goals after the first period. They just haven't been able to score goals. In that respect, yeah, they have sucked. I'll say it. They have. So we'll have to see if they can figure it out here with 40 minutes to play against the Boston Bruins. Johnny, jumping into the comment section, says Carolina is a threat and Toronto showed them last night. I'm not buying too much in the regular season. I know I don't mean to rain on your parade, Johnny. I know you're excited. It was a fantastic win. I've given Toronto props, but one win directly after the All-Star game on home ice, I wouldn't buy too much into it. I wouldn't buy too much into it, especially considering how close that game was. It could have gone either way. But either way, Toronto, going to be a good team, especially in the regular season. Playoffs, again, they're going to have to show me in the playoffs. Carolina, though, Carolina is a team that has shown me in the playoffs, and they're going to be one of my favorites. Definitely, probably my favorite from the Metropolitan. What's going on, Jared? Thanks for joining, repping the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas Golden Knights, some news with Jack Eichel out of a non-contact jersey. That's coming up. I'm excited. I think they need to do that big. I think they need like a really cool video package that gets produced. I think they need to go real big on this and not miss it at all. Let's see. Hikaru also says, biggest disappointment with Wilkes-Barre Scranton is Lindbergh's injury. I mean, it means he wouldn't be ready to be the backup next season. It's going to hurt the Penguins cap-wise. I don't think Lindbergh was going to be the backup next season anyway. I think if they were smart, they would have let him play this year and next year without even thinking of bringing him up, barring crazy unforeseen circumstances like 3 goalies ahead of him getting injured. Now, I know Louis Domingue is out. I know Casey DeSmith has been up and down, rocky, mostly down this season, but I wouldn't be pulling Lindbergh up. I wouldn't even call him this year, obviously dealing with the injuries. I wouldn't call him next year even if he's healthy. I think that's a big thing. Looking at the first period stats, though, for the majority of the time, it seemed like the Penguins had kept the Boston Bruins kind of in check, especially on the shot clock. But looking at the stats as of right now, obviously I've mentioned several times, 2-0 right now in favor of the Boston Bruins. Shots on goal, 17 for the Bruins to 10 for the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's not like the Penguins didn't get opportunities. They did. But giving up 17 shots in the first period, we've seen that in most of the recent games by the Penguins. They've started to give up a large quantity of shots and also pretty decent quality of shots. It seemed like early on they were able to slow the Bruins down and play pretty well. But towards the end of that period, you started to feel the Bruins coming on. You started to feel the Penguins fading back a little bit. And that's why you get 17 shots on goal for the Boston Bruins against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Block shots 6-5 in favor of the Pens. Goalkeeper saves obviously 15-10 in favor of Penguins because there's been more shots. One penalty aside, the Bruins were able to capitalize. The Penguins were not. Hits are 12-11 in favor of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Face-offs 10-9 in favor of the Bruins. 4 takeaways to the Penguins, 5 takeaways for the Bruins, and giveaways. Sorry, that's giveaways. Takeaways 2 by the Pens, 5 by the Bruins. Obviously, the big takeaway the Penguins had, or giveaway, I should say, I keep messing those up. The big giveaway the Penguins had was Chris Letang there towards the end of the first period that resulted in the goal for David Pastrnak, the second goal of the game, I should say, that made it 2-0. So, what else do we have in here? Actually, you know what? With that, since they're getting ready to start the second period, going to start in a couple minutes here, I'm going to take a really quick break, get a drink, go to use the restroom. I'll be back and ready for the second period. So keep the comment section going while I'm on break. Let me know in the comment section, who's your Stanley Cup favorite as of right now? And better yet, if you add that and you want to add a little bit more, who do you think is the biggest name that's going to be traded at the trade deadline on March 21st? Let me know. I'll be right back. Welcome back to the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel and our stream of the Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the Boston Bruins. Bruins have a 2-0 lead here in the first intermission of this one. My name is Nick Berlansky. I host the Tip of the Iceberg podcast here for the Hockey Podcast Network covering the Pittsburgh Penguins. Thank you to everybody that has tuned in and joined already. Thank you to everybody in the comment section. It has been live so far in the first 20 minutes, talking Penguins, talking Bruins, talking Eastern Conference playoff matchups, and also talking a little UFC. I haven't seen any Super Bowl talk, but I'm sure we'll get to that. We still have a lot of time here. 2 more hours of me talking to you, Nick Berlansky, and then after that, I'm going to send it over to Vancouver Island. Isha and Dylan watching along to the Vancouver Canucks and the Arizona Coyotes. You can also find that stream at the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. This stream and every stream is brought to you, as always, by DraftKings. Make sure you use promo code THPN at the DraftKings Sportsbook app for great odds and even better opportunities. Shoot, you can go on there and bet, not just vote, but bet money on the big game this weekend, including even the coin toss. I mean, tails never fails. Am I right? That's what I'm going with. So again, promo code THPN at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. But let's get back to hockey, the greatest sport in the world. Penguins, Bruins, basically Penguins nothing. David Pastrnak 2. That's the story of this game so far. And the Bruins, early in the game, Bruins were not really getting their footing underneath them at 5-on-5. The Penguins were taking it to them a little bit, but boy, did everything switch in the final 10 minutes there. Bruins lead in shots on goal, 17-10. They've been leading on the ice basically, I would say 75% of the time. The other 25%, the Penguins got something going, but Jeremy Swayman stood tall. So if you're the Pittsburgh Penguins, you've only won in that building once since 2014. The last time they were in that the last time before they won last year, Lee Stepniak was on the team. Think about that. Some hockey fans don't even know who Lee Stepniak is anymore. He played on the Penguins in 2014. He scored the game-winning goal for them in 2014 at TD Garden. Since then, only one other victory, and that was last season. So let's jump back into the comments section. Let's see. J Reb, welcome to the stream. Says need the Pens to step it up. Yeah, I'd like to see a close game here. I did say the under of 6 was my bet. So if they're going to step it up, they're going to need to shut down the Bruins if they're going to win. But I also said it's going to be a 1-goal game. So for that, I do need them to step it up. So we'll have to see. Let's see. Ooh, teaser here in the comment section. Dylan and Isha will be up next. As I said, Isha says maybe even a giveaway from Dylan and Isha tonight. THPN merch. Ooh. Well, I know that got me hooked. James asks, who do I like in the Super Bowl? I love the matchup, honestly. I think it's going to be a really fun matchup. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to cook some dip, some buffalo chicken dip. Got a lot of food going on. Who do I like in the game, though? I do like the LA Rams. You know, as much as I think Joey Burrow is really fun to watch, the guy's got swagger. The guy is an absolute baller. He's going to be so much fun to watch, and he has been this entire season and this entire playoffs. Last time we saw a quarterback roll into the Super Bowl against a really good defensive front seven without a good offensive line, it didn't go well. And that was last year. Patrick Mahomes didn't have a good offensive line, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers front seven absolutely destroyed them. The Rams front seven, Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and them boys, they're so good. And the Bengals, their line is not good. So I think the Rams, because of that, I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I do think they win by, let's say, I would take the Rams minus 7.5. I think they win by somewhere between 8 to 10 points. That's my bet on it. That's where I currently am. Things can change, injury statuses, stuff like that. I know Ramsey is dealing with something for the Rams, but as of right now, I think the Rams win by just over 1 score. Craig Smith, and we're underway here in the second period of play as the Bruins get possession of the puck early on. Jake Gensel dumping it out of the zone, though. Listen, the Penguins have relied so much on their first line. At this point, maybe you switch things up. Maybe you get, because if you have all 3 of these guys out there at once, you know all 3 of them, your 3 best scorers, the only 3 players on the ice that have scored a goal basically, definitely in the calendar month of February so far. And even further beyond that, if you have all 3 of those guys on the ice at once, then Cassidy's just going to match up with the Bergeron line, and he's going to shut it down. You might need to switch it up. That's all I'm saying. And I don't know what it is, but certainly isn't putting Kapanen anywhere because he has just been abysmal. He's out there on the ice now, back checking and forechecking, doing a half-decent job. Forces a turnover, but there's nobody there for the Penguins to capitalize, and it's not going to help you at all whenever you have nobody there to take advantage. Jeff Carter takes the puck, and the Penguins are going to set things up here just over a minute into the second period of play between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Boston Bruins, a 2-0 lead thanks to 2 first-period goals by David Pastrnak. James says, let me bring it up here. See teams like Pittsburgh, Boston, the Rangers retool their teams on the fly, make a playoff run. The Jets will never do that properly. Are you talking about the New York Football Jets or the Winnipeg Jets? That's the question. If it's the Winnipeg Jets, listen, they have the pieces. I don't know what is going on this year. I don't know why they can't put it together this year. They have the pieces there. I love their team on paper. They were my dark horse. I mean, Faggio knows this. They're my dark horse all season long. And I'm not gonna jump off the bandwagon. It looks pretty bleak right now, but they're still my dark horse to make it to the finals. But it's not looking good. It's not looking good. They're not a favorite, but honestly, if they get into the dance, they're a tough team to take out. The Lions, says Bruins fan here, going to win 5-2. Weird, a Bruins fan with a Penguins Abbey. I know it's not the Pittsburgh Penguins, but still, interesting dichotomy. But I like it. I like the score update. I do, however, have the total at under 6. So if we could work that under 6, maybe even a push at 5-1, or maybe a 4-2 game. At the very least, I'd like to make some money tonight. That's all I'm saying, basically. But Boston Bruins have an opportunity here. Something's going on. Winning the face-off. 1 second. Got to just send a quick text. There we go. Penguins out there with their fourth line. Aston Reese, Simone, Brian Boyle. Not a whole lot of scoring power out there to be spoken of. Although Brian Boyle a couple weeks ago, when I was on the stream actually, went between the legs in front of the net, top shelf. So you never know with Boyle, but the other two, pretty aware of their talents. And that's a bad turnover by Zach Aston Reese. I've been eating. All of a sudden, I burp when I do this. But block shot, 6-5 in favor of the Penguins. But offensively, they're just not getting great opportunities on Jeremy Swayman. Early in this game, they were able to. But since then, probably the past 20 minutes of play, they have not been able to get any grade A opportunities on Jared Swayman. I don't know if they need to get to the power play, but at some point, you have to think the Penguins need to get something going at 5-on-5 because they have not played well at 5-on-5 at all in the past 4 games, which is why they don't have a win. Here comes Marchand and the Bruins' first line. He leaves it off for Grzelcyk. Grzelcyk's shot is blocked by Letang. Rebound is taken by Bergeron, shot wide of the net. Bruins trying to cycle the puck here, get a little bit of offensive zone time, and wear down the Penguins' top line, this is all you want right now. Because look at that. Gensel does make a play defensively. They try to go out to Crosby, and guess what? They need a change. Brian Rust off the ice, and they have 2 guys caught in Gensel and Crosby, who are both tired against your Bruins' top offensive line. There's an opportunity and a save made by Tristan Jarry on Patrice Bergeron, the captain of the Boston Bruins, gets a nice chance there in the slot. Nice pass over to McAvoy. Beautiful opportunity, but tracked easily by Tristan Jarry. He keeps them in it. And as of right now, Tristan Jarry is going to be demanding that they all get him a couple beers after this game because he is currently being hung out to dry by his team. And the only reason that they are currently only down by 2 goals, which for this Pittsburgh Penguins team, at times this season, that has been easy striking distance. So we'll see if that trend continues tonight. But as of right now, they showed a close-up of Mike Sullivan. He did not look too pleased with the current situation, or at least at the current moment. We'll see what happens there. Defense played there by Kasperi Kapanen, looking to get it out of the zone. Kapanen has some straight line speed. He's going to try to win a foot race, but he is outlasted by the Bruins defender. A nice play there to cut off the angle and take it away from Kasperi Kapanen. The Penguins still go back and get the puck. They shoot it in, and it is saved there. As I look down at Flash Score, and I see it's 2-1. So we'll see who scores a goal here. McGinn sends it over to Carter, and Carter, that's Danton Heinen. Player to watch, Danton Heinen puts it in the back of the net in his revenge game against the Boston Bruins. I really shouldn't look down at Flash Score. So I was 2-1, but at the very least, I was ready for it. Danton Heinen, my player to watch, he gets a goal, his first goal in what seems like forever. He did suffer an injury and missed the last 2 games before the All-Star break, so probably feels great for him on a beautiful feed by Brock McGinn, backhanded over, forehand, backhand for Heinen, and the lefty puts it right past the outstretched leg of Jeremy Swayman, and just like that, the Pittsburgh Penguins cracked the goose egg, cut the lead in half, and it is 2-1. We have a game on our hands, folks. It's going to get real interesting now. Heinen, We mentioned the Penguins need secondary scoring. That is going to help tremendously getting a guy like Danton Heinen on the scoreboard. That might be his 10th goal of the season. So the Penguins right back in it, but almost a bad turnover to Jake DeBrusk. Luckily, a good defensive play made there by, I believe, John Marino to stop DeBrusk from getting that great opportunity. Big stretch pass out to Heinen. He comes into the zone looking for more here. Rodriguez goes to Heinen. I look down at Flash Store again. There's a Penguins goal coming up here. John Marino over to Heinen. Heinen looking in front of the net. He shoots it. It's up over the corner, and it is in the net. A 2-2 game now. The Pittsburgh Penguins, quick strike. Danton Heinen involved in both goals. We'll have to see if he gets credit for that second one as well. But Danton Heinen, have yourself a day. They're treating it like he's the one to score. And now the Penguins are not just back in this game. The Penguins have tied this game 2-2, as that just went up high on Swayman. He was not able to handle it, just kind of crawled up and over him and landed right in the back of the net. Yeah, he elbowed it into his own net. And just like that, the Pittsburgh Penguins have new life here in the second period of play. It's crazy how quickly things can change in the sport of hockey. That's why most people like it. That is Danton Heinen's then 11th goal on the season to tie it up here for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Faggio says, W, the Pens are back, LOL. 28 seconds between the two goals, and just like that, it is a 2-2 game here. I got to stop looking. I keep looking at Flash Score now. I keep looking, getting excited because this game, it gotten closer. My under is looking absolutely horrific right now, but that's fine. I'll take it with a good game. 2-2 is the score here. Danton Heinen, 2 goals, 28 seconds apart for the man formerly known as a Boston Bruin, currently known as a Pittsburgh Penguin. Revenge game doesn't get better than that. Maybe we'll see him net the hat trick. Right now, it is, funny enough, it is David Pastrnak 2, Danton Heinen 2. If that was 3 years ago, it'd be real good for the Boston Bruins, but it's not, so it is a tie game here. Penguins, again, this matchup, you're not going to see Sidney Crosby score tonight. I really don't think so, because just the way, I don't know what it is about Bergeron. We always know that he's one of the best two-way players in the sport of hockey, but the fact is he just has something over Sidney Crosby when they play. That first goal was assisted by Brock McGinn, and defenseman Mike Matheson picks up the secondary, and his second goal was assisted by Marino and Brock McGinn. So a 2-point night for McGinn, as well as he picks up assists on both of those goals. Looking in the comments section, Nick Horwat, my co-host for the Tip of the Iceberg podcast, says, Boston note, The Athletic tweeted a story 7 minutes ago that mentioned Rask finalizing retirement decision in the next few days. That is huge for the Boston Bruins. Isha, you're killing me. Wow, that is massive. Tuukka Rask potentially, most likely, going to be retiring, which means the Bruins are going to have to definitely rely now on Jeremy Swayman as well as Linus Ullmark going forward. And you know what, honestly, and I'll speak directly basically to Horwat on this one and to everybody else watching. When we were recording the episode on Monday, Horwat, and we were talking about Tuukka Rask, he's played a couple games, he seems like he's hurt. I did start to think about Ben Bishop. And the fact that Bishop was trying to come back from an injury, tried to rehab it, got all the way back to the AHL, played a couple games, and then called it quits on retirement. Now, Rask did the same thing, but Rask never played in the AHL. So he came back to the NHL, played a couple games. It said hip injury for the reason of his injury and the reason he was out for tonight's game. And that's crazy to think that the career of Tuukka Rask is coming to a close here. And, you know, obviously The Athletic tweeted it, so it's probably as set as in stone as you could possibly have it, because that's one of the most reputable sources we can go for. So thanks for the update there, Horwat. Crazy if that is the end of Tuukka Rask's career. We see both Rask and Ben Bishop basically do the same exact thing in this year. Nice opportunity there, shot off the side of the net by Jake Gensel, the All-Star. He had a pretty good weekend, All-Star weekend. He was second in accuracy shooting, so they're obviously nice to see him trying to pinpoint accuracy. Is, oh my God, Brian Rust. I think that was Connor Clifton. He just absolutely sunned him. Throws him back, puts him on his butt, and a beautiful play there by Connor Clifton in a defensive zone for the Boston Bruins. And here comes Sidney Crosby with a head of steam, trying to get away from Patrice Bergeron. A nice opportunity there for Letang stepping up, but his shot is blocked as we have about 12 and a half minutes to go here. That was close to, and they do get him for too many men on the ice. Boston Bruins will be back on the power play. That is a bad mistake for the Pittsburgh Penguins here about halfway through the game. But the point is, they are back in this game thanks to Danton Heinen. Gotta love it. This is what killed me. Isha saying, Uncle Nick Berlansky. Yep, I became an uncle today for the very first time, so thank you for that. I appreciate that. If my sister's watching from the hospital, hope you're feeling better. Nick Horwat, yep, not expected to continue his comeback. That is tough, though. I mean, the thing is, he's a guy that I'm not going to have a conversation now. Horwat, maybe this is a conversation we have on Thursday's episode, even though I don't know why we talk about a Boston Bruin that much, especially after the game. But is he a Hall of Famer? Let me know in the comments. What do you think? Is Tuukka Rask, if this is it for him, if he cannot continue to play, if he does end up retiring here soon in the next couple of weeks, next couple of days, who knows? Is Tuukka Rask a Hall of Famer? I'll leave that to you guys in the comment section. Fagios, this is a long one. Nick, Heinen's my player to watch today. Heinen, hey, how about I take a bad penalty and we let Boston score? Nick, can you please come back? Heinen, player to watch, huh? I guess it's time to shine. I love it. Basically, summation of the first hour, 22 minutes, and 29 seconds and counting of my live stream tonight. Thank you for that, Fagio. Corey joins the live stream. What's going on, Corey? Thanks for jumping on here to the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. We're streaming Pens, Bruins right now as a watch along. If you stay tuned, it's a doubleheader. You get Dylan and Isha, which Isha did say they might be doing a giveaway of some THPN merch tonight. So you can tune into them as they watch along to the Vancouver Canucks and the Arizona, not the Phoenix, the Arizona Coyotes, maybe soon to be the Arizona State Coyotes. And, oh, look, Danton Heinen's back in the box. So, Fagio, you can add to that 5-paragraph essay that you're putting on about me talking about Danton Heinen. You can add to that, takes the second penalty as he is in the box for the second time tonight. 2 penalties, 2 goals for Danton Heinen in his return to Boston. But 12:36 remaining here in the second period. This is a pivotal moment for both teams. Bruins, number 4 ranked power play, already 1-for-1 on the evening. Penguins, second ranked penalty kill. They go head-to-head for the second time tonight. We'll see who gets the better of this one in a 2-2 tie. Bergeron wins the faceoff almost too cleanly as the puck goes the entire way back to the Bruins zone. Good start for the Penguins, even though they didn't really force anything there. David Pastrnak has 2 goals already, looking for a hat trick. Danton Heinen in the box. Maybe they feed him right out of the box off the penalty kill and he gets a hat trick. We'll have to keep an eye on it. But the Penguins are able to get the puck out of the zone. Jeff Carter takes it in. Just going to shoot that on net, make Swayman make a save, and the puck goes up and out of play. A nice job by Jeff Carter, and it's going to be an offensive zone face-off while shorthanded for the Pittsburgh Penguins. 28 seconds off the clock here on the penalty to Danton Heinen. Fascio. Heinen, screw it, I'm going back to my first period roots. Yeah, basically what he did. A 2-2 game here. I'm still kind of in shock. Thanks to Horwat for throwing that note in the comment section. Tuukka Rask might be finalizing his retirement. That is, I mean, in a year where we've seen in multiple different sports, obviously, football, we've seen it's not to that level. In hockey, we've seen now Ben Bishop, and this could be Bishop and an opportunity here for Boyle, but he just can't catch up to it. But obviously, Ben Bishop earlier this year, now Tuukka Rask. You look at the NFL at a much higher level. You have Tom Brady and Ben Roethlisberger, 2 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So a lot of my childhood starting to decide to retire this year. Not a fan of it. It's kind of hurting my heart. But luckily, to help mend it, we have some really good hockey, and especially in this game. 11:46 remaining in the second. It is still a 2-2 game as the Penguins try to kill off the second power play for the Boston Bruins. Taylor Hall takes it up the ice and into the zone, sends it over to, I believe that was Bergeron. He tries cross ice. Marchand able to pick it up. He sends a slap pass over into the corner, and 2 players fight for it. We'll see who comes out with it. Penguins end up with it. McGinn tries to get it out, and he's not able to. Marchand sets it up, tries to send it cross ice. John Marino able to get in front of that there for the Penguins, and the Bruins are able to retrieve the puck and try to set things up again. Marchand at the top of the key, looking over. Pastrnak, takes a slap shot, and that is swallowed whole by Tristan Jarry. He shuts things down and reverts for a stoppage. Nick Horwitz says the Hockey Hall can be iffy with goalies getting in, but I bet he gets in eventually. I don't. To be completely honest, you say the Hockey Hall is iffy with goaltenders, 100% right. You look at the classes that he's about to try to join. Lundqvist is going to go a year before? I don't know. Lundqvist retired before this year. Lundqvist will be in his class for the Hall of Fame. You have that. You have Fleury that's going to have an opportunity. Carey Price might be retiring at some point here. By the way, Corey says, let's go. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring you up and put you away that quickly. Corey says, let's go Pens in the chat. So we're starting to even out here between Bruins fans and Pens fans, or at least backers of the Bruins and the Pens here in the comment section. But you have those two guys. Carey Price might be retiring at some point here soon. Obviously, he's dealing with health issues. Corey Crawford is out. We'll have to see. Shot on there, deflected, and the Penguins trying to get it out of the zone. The penalty is over to Danton Heinen as we're about halfway through this game here between the Penguins and the Boston Bruins. And the Bruins still trying to capitalize right after the penalty. Heinen falls into somebody. There's a couple of players down in front of the net. Somebody looking for a penalty. No penalty is called. The Penguins able to clear it, and that is going to go for icing. So a 2-2 game. Danton Heinen, he's certainly making his mark on this game. But it's been back and forth the second period. The Penguins, 28 seconds, that's when they scored their goals. But for the most part, it feels like the Boston Bruins have had control of this game here, especially at the halfway point. You look at the shots on goal, 23 for the Bruins. They're on pace to put 46 shots on goal on Tristan Jarry. He has really been the story of this game for the Pittsburgh Penguins between him and Danton Heinen. Penguins try to get into the offensive zone. That's Zach Aston Reese playing on the forecheck. He's not going to be able to take over the puck, but he does pressure them to get out of the zone. Here comes the Boston defenseman stepping up in the zone. They go for a cross-ice pass. That was Marchand looking for a cross-ice pass. He couldn't find anybody. Now Crosby is one-on-one with Brandon Carlo. He turns back, sends it to a defenseman, and that's going to be turned over. And now here's an opportunity for David Pastrnak, potential 3-on-2 or 2-on-1. Pastrnak can't get it past Marcus Pettersson, and that shuts things down. Things are opening up here halfway through the second period. Sidney Crosby takes the puck, has a little bit of open ice. He's being shut down now by a Boston defenseman. He reverts back to Jake Gensel. The shot is on. The puck is deflected. Nothing doing there for either side. I need to really stop looking at the flash score because I know it's like 30 seconds ahead now. But the Bruins come back the other way. That's going to be Curtis Lazar looking for something. His shot is deflected. Evan Rodriguez takes it like he shot out of a cannon. This could be a 2-on-1 for the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's turned over. This is really opening up now. Lots of fun back and forth offensive hockey here. I know both Swayman and Jarry are not happy about it, but the fans at TD Garden are certainly starting to get a little bit rowdy with all these opportunities here. Heinen tries to turn the puck over. Some pretty good forechecking there by the Pittsburgh Penguins, but they can't take advantage. The puck is sent out, and Big Zed redeems the Horna, is going to retrieve it for the Penguins, send it up to Harvard boy, John Marino, who tries to keep it in the zone, but he's not able to. Dumoulin takes it behind the Penguins' net. Things are really starting to speed up here at TD Garden in this tie game. Bruins take it. Go and two-line pass. Sends it over. That's going to be Charlie Coyle who takes it. He's met by Brian Dumoulin. Coyle going backhand, forehand, takes it to the top. He turns it over. Jeff Carter trying to get through. That's going to be a penalty on Coyle, and the Penguins are going ahead to the power play for, I believe, let me check the stats here, but I believe this will be their second power play opportunity of the evening. It will be. So Charlie Coyle turned the puck over. It was either let Jeff Carter go in uninhibited or interfere with him. Coyle decides, let's get in front of him. Let's get in front of him, take the penalty, and the Penguins will have a chance here with about 8 minutes left in the second period of play to take the lead. So with 8 minutes to go here, this game is really, it's been not a disappointment in any stretch of the word. I think it's really kind of lived up to the hype of a Penguins versus Bruins game. These games are usually really close. I said it finished as a 1-goal game. Currently, we're tied more than halfway through, so that's making me look smart. I did say it would finish under 6. Currently not looking too good, as it's going to at least finish at 5 with a 2-2 game here, maybe a 3-2 finish, and that would make me right on all accounts. But we're only halfway through the game. David Pastrnak is lighting up on all cylinders, and as this game is progressing, both sides are starting to open it up and get more offensive opportunities. So we'll see if both of these goalies are able to keep their head on a swivel, and especially Tristan Jarry has been tested time and time again by the Boston Bruins offense. We'll see if he's able to hold down the fort for the Pittsburgh Penguins. But before we continue to go, I know the Penguins are about to get on the power play. I do want to talk a little bit on the Penguin side of things about their situation coming up at the end of the season. Now, before they signed Jeff Carter a couple of weeks ago, they really had basically 3 forwards signed, and they were not the biggest forwards. I mean, obviously, you do have Crosby signed. You have Gensel signed. Now they have Carter signed. But the other forwards that they had were Brock McGinn and Jason Zucker. Those were the only guys signed past this year. So they still have Rust. They still have Kapanen, who's going to be an RFA. They have to re-sign Evan Rodriguez, who started the season so well. And there's another turnover by Chris Letang. He is having an absolute crazy bad game, especially on the power play. But Sidney Crosby tries to take it in the zone, tries to do it himself, and that does not work as the Boston Bruins were lined up across the blue line there. Tristan Jarry tries a quick up, sends it up to Brian Rust, who's going to turn the puck over, and that's going to be Tomasz Nosek, I believe, who's going to take the puck from him. And now Letang able to get it back for the Pittsburgh Penguins as they try to set things up here. 40 seconds gone already on their second power play opportunity. Crosby tries to get an outman somebody. He puts him on his butt, and let's see what happens. He's able to get the puck, sends it back, and here comes Chris Letang. An opportunity in front, sends it over. Brian Rust misses it, another opportunity, and they score. Well, I said Sidney Crosby wouldn't score, but he gets to it on the power play, and just like that, the Penguins, once thought to be down, as they were down 2-0, have now taken a lead with their third second period goal, and that is career goal number 499 for Sidney Crosby. He is one shy of career goal number 500, and that one off of Swayman's blocker, and then top shelf where Mama hides the cookies. It was a fantastic opportunity by Brian Rust. He misses the net, and luckily, though, follows up on it. That's a great lesson there for anybody, young trying to play hockey. Follow your shot. If you do that, you get rewarded, and that's what Brian Rust was able to do there. Followed his shot, saw an opening, sent it over to Sidney Crosby, and just like that, the Pittsburgh Penguins have their first lead of the game with just about 7 minutes remaining here in the second period of play. Hikaru jumping in the comments section says, crazy bad game is Letang's calling card. He's always been Jekyll and Hyde. Well, tonight he has had a couple of egregious turnovers. He's had some nice defensive plays, but for the most part, when you see those egregious turnovers, you know it's not going to be a pretty night for a guy like Chris Letang, who, if he's doing his best, he is not being noticed very much in the game. So Gensel, Crosby, and Rust all going to get points on that third goal. Nice to see them get on the score sheet against Boston, which is something they usually are not able to do. Took them to get on the power play, but still nice to do there. Oh, a bad turnover, an opportunity. And how did that not go in? Eric Holla had more than the entire net open, if that's even possible. But he was stumped. I believe that was either John Marino or Brian Dumoulin that dove back and got in the way. But here's another opportunity. This time, Taylor Hall, he makes a shot, fakes it, sends it out. An opportunity here. Holla again, just can't pull the trigger. A couple of great opportunities for the Boston Bruins, but instead, Big Zed, Radim Zohorna, is going to take it out of harm's way for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Geez, the Bruins are pushing hard after starting to trail for the very first time. Zohorna opportunity is deflected up high, and a breather for everybody in the stadium and everybody, including me, who is sitting at home watching, because an absolute just sprint there for a solid 90 seconds by the Boston Bruins, but they're not able to capitalize, trying to capitalize and get back into a tie game after Sidney Crosby's 499th career goal. James just jumping back in says, no, what happened to the Bruins? The Bruins gave up 2 goals in 28 seconds to Danton Heinen, as I predicted. And then Sidney Crosby was able to get a power play goal. So the Penguins now have a 3-2 lead. They need David Pastrnak, who scored both goals, to get back into it for the Boston Bruins. Hikaru K. This should honestly be, if Chris Letang makes it to the Hockey Hall of Fame, big if there. But if he makes it to the Hockey Hall of Fame, next to his name, that needs to be inscribed. High risk, high reward, because that just perfectly describes not just this season, basically his entire career. He's been a lot better since Todd Reirden came back to Pittsburgh, but basically his whole career has been high risk, high reward. Gotta love it. On that goal, that is Crosby's 13th goal of the season. Again, career number 499. Brian Rust stays hot. That's his 19th assist. Jake Gensel picks up a secondary assist. He leads the Penguins in both points and goals. Picks up his 24th assist there. And just like that, Pittsburgh Penguins, I said it a little earlier. I didn't know if we would see it today. I said the Pittsburgh Penguins usually at some point this season, most points this season, a 2-goal deficit is something that's not very safe with the Pittsburgh Penguins this season. And they just proved it again as they now have a 3-2 lead. We'll see how this game progresses. But let's take a look at the stats here with just about 5 minutes remaining in the second period of play, 5:56 to be exact, remaining in the second period. The Penguins lead by a score of 3-2. Shots on goal, 26-17 in favor of the Bruins. Block shots, 9-7 in favor of the Pittsburgh Penguins. 2 penalties aside, 1 power play goal per side. And then going down here, faceoffs 21-3 in favor of the Boston Bruins. Giveaways 7-5. Bruins have more. Takeaways 8-4. Bruins have more. But here we go as the game is getting ready to get right back underway here with just under 6 minutes to play in the second period. The Penguins now leading by a score of 3-2. I did just miss the replay of the Eric Halla wide open net. I wonder which player was able to make the play there for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Again, it looked like either Dumoulin or Marino. So if you were able to see it, if you could drop it in the comment section, I would greatly appreciate that. I'm sure they'll actually show that again, but we'll have to see. Letang back in his own zone. That's a scary play right now because he's been turning the puck over a little bit too much tonight. One of them resulted in a goal. Crosby takes it, sends it out front, tries to find Dom Simone, who's out there. Looks like they're trying to get a line change then. Letang takes it in deep and turns the puck over, and the Bruins able to clear, send it out to John Marino, who settles it down as the Penguins and Bruins both look for a line change. Nice job by John Marino to evade Brad Marchand's forechecking attempt. Swayman tries to settle it down, not able to. The Penguins' fourth line trying to get something going here. They're not able to. The Bruins coming out on an opportunity. A lot of open ice there. He takes it to the far side, shoots it in, trying for a rebound, not going to get it, but the defenseman comes in, he shoots it, and that is blocked by Dom Simone. Good job by the Penguins there, trying to avoid allowing a great opportunity for the Bruins. That puts the Penguins at double digits, 10 block shots on the day, trying to get a little bit better defensive hockey, especially after giving up 17 shots on goal in the first period. They've locked things down and controlled the pace of play a lot better here in the second. There's a collision at center ice. Evan Rodriguez and Danton Heinen cross paths. A little bit of a disconnect there, and the Bruins able to take advantage and get possession of the puck. Into the zone for the Bruins, a shot on goal. That one's easily dispensed away by Tristan Jarry. Mike Matheson has an assist on the game. He tries to set things out. That puck is deflected by Big Zed, redeems Zahorna. He's going to be able to help carry it out, and the Penguins dump it in. Now with a lead in this game, you would think the Penguins are going to start to revert to the dump and chase style. They've done it before. They're able to go in there and get the pucks usually when they do that. But you have to think, being the road team at a place that they don't win very much, here comes Jake DeBrusk. Nice opportunity and nice play to take that away from Chris Letang, who turns the puck over. Once again, sound like a broken record. I've said that at least 4 times now tonight, that Chris Letang is not having a good night when it comes to possessing the puck. Bruins able to have a nice keep there, keeping it in the zone. Big hit there from Letang, trying to separate the player from the puck, and he does for the Penguins, who get the puck out of the defensive zone. Let's look into the comment section, see what's going on. James Sorensen jumping in, says, hey, chat, James Z, I'm here, but not for long. Well, we thank you, or at least I thank you. I'm sure everybody else is, but I thank you for joining. What's going on, James? Hope you're having a good night. Thanks for jumping on. Make sure you drop a like before you leave. I'd certainly appreciate that. Hikaru says, I'd like an Erod goal tonight. It'd be huge if he could get it going. This is a huge game. I mean, you've already seen. First of all, Penguins-Bruins, already a huge game. Both teams going to be in the playoffs this year. Coming down the stretch, great game so far, coming back from down 3-2. If he's able to score the next goal or the fifth goal for the Pittsburgh Penguins, if there is such a thing tonight, it would be massive for his confidence because of how big of a game it is. That could kickstart him. He's been a huge player for the Pittsburgh Penguins all season long. Hasn't really done much since Malkin came back. So the last about 12 games, I think he only has 2 assists. So he would have to certainly get his stuff together, especially when this team gets to fully healthy. There might be a conversation of whether or not he should be in the lineup. So he has to make his case again. I think he's still earned the right to be in the lineup because of how well he played early on in the season, but he's starting to lose all that leeway that he built up in the first 41 games. James, I concur. Absolute fantastic game. Something going on here with the ice crew. We'll have to see what's going on, but a nice little stoppage here with 2:45 remaining in the second period. Penguins have scored 3 unanswered in the second period, which is why they have a lead, and also why they have a lead is that man on the screen right now. All-star Tristan Jarry showing up and showing out against basically everybody except for David Pastrnak. I mean, you look at both goals. One was a power play one-timer, hard to stop. Pastrnak is one of the most premier goal scorers in the league, so that makes sense. And the second one, it's a 3-on-1. He makes the first save. Pasta swats it out of the air, gets the second goal. So realistically, Tristan Jarry, I mean, it's between him and Danton Heinen for player of the game for the Pittsburgh Penguins right now. And obviously, if you're looking at the Bruins, the player of the game is David Pastrnak. James, what a guy. Thanks, James. Drops a like there. Make sure if you're tuning in, first of all, thank you for joining us. I appreciate everybody that has joined already. I appreciate everybody that is in the comment section. We've had a great night so far, just under 2 hours live at this point. And don't forget, after this, we do also have a second watch along tonight. Isha and Dylan, the co-founders of the Hockey Podcast Network, will be going live in their shiny new studio. They redid it up. They're going to be premiering that live on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel as they watch along to the Vancouver Canucks and the Arizona Coyotes. That's, again, right after this game ends. You can find that also at the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. Shout out to all the subscribers of the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel because we just hit, last night, we just hit 1,000 subscribers. So we appreciate you all for joining us on this ride. We're just getting started, and the best is yet to come here at the Hockey Podcast Network. Brought to you, as always, by DraftKings, as it says right there. Yeah, down in that corner. But thank you so much. Hikaru says, also, if there was any way Hextall could whisper Giroux to Pittsburgh somehow, I know that it won't happen. Okay, I'm glad you said that you know it won't happen. I'm not going to lie. When I watched the All-Star game, and I did watch the All-Star game on Saturday, the thought ran through my mind. But the thought runs through your mind every time you watch one of those. What would Hex give up to make cap space? I mean, it's an interesting conversation. What's he going to give up if he needs cap space? Because that's what Brian Burke said all interview last week. He said, listen, if we could do something, we would. We don't have cap space. We're going to have to give up a player that is integral to our team that we like to get anything in return. And that's not always a good idea. So what would they give up? I could see them trying to potentially shop a guy like Jason Zucker because of his cap hit, give them a little bit more flexibility. And also, I could see him trying to shop Kasperi Kapanen. That's the type of season he's had. Maybe he needs a change of scenery. Who knows what he needs? What he does need, however, is to start scoring goals for the Pittsburgh Penguins if he wants to stay here. I got to plug my laptop in. I should have done that earlier, but 5%. That would have been a nightmare. But we're all good to go. Luckily, I had it right there. But no, I don't think Claude Giroux is coming to Pittsburgh. Claude Giroux, if you heard him talk over the weekend, he thinks there's still work to be done in Philly. I don't agree, but I think what you're going to see is him probably go to a team out west. The TD Garden staff is still trying to fix something on the ice, it looks like, down in the Penguins' defensive territory in the corner. So we'll see what happens with that. It's causing a little bit of a delay here. And if you're the Pittsburgh Penguins, I mean, you got to keep your intensity up because you had all the momentum. That's something that could kill your momentum, especially in a game in an arena, which we haven't minced words, they've been really bad in the last 5, 6, 7 years. So James says, nice you guys hit 1,000. Cool. Yep, I was not the one to do it, unfortunately. I was hoping to do it. But Neil, who's also a great host here at the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel, he hit it last night. So again, thank you to all the subscribers. Thank you to everybody tuned in right now. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you like what you're seeing. And again, there will be a second one tonight, a second watch along that is with Dylan and Isha. So Ron jumping on. Ron was a little upset that I didn't directly send him the link to this today. Listen, I have a lot of things on my mind, Ron. Got a lot of things going on. There's a nice opportunity there for number 12, who's Craig Smith. And then another opportunity, and that goes wide. Sidney Crosby takes it out. He's at the end of his shift. He's trying to make something happen, looking for goal number 500. So how do you feel about Eichel coming back? Vegas doesn't have the cap for it right now. I don't know what kind of wizardry they're ready to play. We'll have to see what goes on with that. But I'm excited about the return of Jack Eichel. I really am. Isha says Eichel coming back is not fair for the Pacific. Spoken like a true Vancouver Canucks fan. But Eichel coming back is not fair for the West. Let's not just leave it to the Pacific. It's not fair for the Western Conference because the guy, I think some of us have forgotten how good Jack Eichel actually is. Some of us never knew how good Jack Eichel is because he played in Buffalo. He never played. Listen, the guy has played just as many years as Connor McDavid. He's never played a single playoff game. Can we think and remember that? Like, this kid is a premier player in this league. At his best, he could be a top 5 center in the National Hockey League. That's how highly I think of him. Now that he has his neck situation all figured out, I think that the return of Eichel is the best trade deadline acquisition any team is going to have because he's coming back probably in the next week or two. He's basically only going to play as much as a trade deadline acquisition plays in the regular season. But honestly, they're in first place without him. So getting him back, that is a massive thing, and that's what's going to make them a favorite. And this is going to get ugly if they keep hacking at Tristan Jarry like that. That was Pasternak, and that was, I believe, Taylor Hall going at it, and Mike Matheson was taking liberties at Taylor Hall for that. This is going to be an interesting third period if the hostilities start to rise like that. Taylor Hall's not happy about something, but it was a nice opportunity in front. Hall trying to get things backed up. Tristan Jarry stood tall and covered it up, but that's what started it. Matheson hit Hall. It looked like in the mouth. Taylor Hall not happy about it. Comes back with cross checks and roughings, and both guys just going at it. And Chad Ruhwedel just keeping David Pasternak at bay. So hostilities are growing here at TD Garden. It's going to make for an interesting third period. Still a minute to play here in the second. Mike Matheson has gone to the box, and it looks like Taylor Hall will be joining him here. And he's not a happy camper right now. Taylor Hall thinking that he should not be penalized. We're going to play some 4-on-4 hockey here to end off the second period. Horwat, keeping me honest, says Penn's bench door was broken. Don't use the bench anyway. Freaking defenseman. I know it was Letang there. So, come on. Jump the bench. Be a man. You're NHL players. I don't know. Be a man was not the way to put that. But you're NHL players. Grow up. Jump the bench. Hikaru says, Eichel and Nolan Patrick on the same team. Huge disparity between number 2 picks. Yeah, I would say so. Nolan Patrick is closer to being a Henderson Silver Knight than he is a Vegas Golden Knight when that team is fully healthy. So certainly a good comment there. I appreciate that, Hikaru. 1 minute left in the second period here. Jeff Carter in a sea of black and gold, and not the good kind for the Pittsburgh Penguins, as he is outmanned there 4-1 trying to enter the zone. Turns the puck over. Now Jake DeBrusk takes it into the Penguins territory. Letang takes it, goes over to Carter. Carter turns the puck over again. A bad pass by Brock McGinn. Coyle drops it back to DeBrusk. DeBrusk over defenseman. That shot is saved by Tristan Jarry, and another opportunity is paddled away by Jarry. But to go back to the Eichel thing really quickly, a big hit there on Brian Dumoulin by Brad Marchand. Just beautifully laid him up right in the middle of the ice. Beautiful open ice hit there by Brad Marchand. Now, Letang takes it. He's had some trouble. There's going to be an opportunity for Crosby looking for goal number 500, but he's not able to put it away. 7 seconds to go. Penguins looking for one last goal here to extend their lead before the intermission. Gensel takes it, reverses field, has an opportunity for Letang, and that is blocked away. That'll do it for the second period to play. Penguins lead it 3-2 after 40 minutes. We'll have the intermission report coming up next. I don't know why I'm saying that. I'm not going to break yet. But no, to finish off the Jack Eichel thing, that is what I'm most looking forward to from the end of the All-Star game, which was obviously Saturday, Sunday. That's what I'm most looking forward to for the rest of the season, is seeing Jack Eichel's return. And I talked about it a little bit earlier. What I want from Vegas, go all out. Not all out like you did for the All-Star game, because I thought it was pathetic. I thought the magic trick where they picked the matchups was stupid. You're in Vegas. I could see, like, literally my infant nephew could do better magic than that. So, honestly, I think they need to do it big video production. He's back. He's here. Whatever. They need to go all out for the homecoming, or not even the homecoming, the opening of the Jack Eichel era in Vegas. That's what I'm looking for. I'm really excited about it. Isha dropping some wisdom in the comment section, saying subscribe to the channel, watchalongs every day of the week. Also a live Q&A with Terry Ryan, former first-round pick of the Montreal Canadiens, coming soon. You could probably ask him how that Chicklets Cup went out in Vegas over the weekend as he was there. Faggio saying, Bruins choke. Yeah, they didn't have a good second period, which reminds me, let's get to the stats before I take a quick break here in the second intermission. Through two periods, Penguins lead by a score of 3-2 on the strength of two Danton Heinen goals and Sidney Crosby's 499th tally, which is currently the difference maker in this one after two. Shots on goal, 35 for the Boston Bruins, 18 for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Shots on goal in the second period were 18 in favor of the Boston Bruins to 8 in favor of the Pittsburgh Penguins. So, again, Penguins hanging Tristan Jarry out to dry. He is his work cut out for him. If I'm looking at the Penguins, we talk about, I know Hikaru said they need a goal scorer. I said, I think they're going after a defenseman. They need a backup goalie. I know Casey DeSmith had a save of the year candidate in his last game against the Detroit Red Wings. You need a different goalie. If you can go out there and we talked about it on Monday's episode of The Tip of the Iceberg, so tune into that if you want to hear our full conversation on it. Talked about maybe a Craig Anderson from Buffalo. That's a potential prospect there. His contract's running up. He's a 40-year-old. It'd be a rental. It would purely be bringing him in to make sure Tristan Jarry doesn't get gassed by the playoffs. So that's what I think they need as well. They need a true backup goaltender, because it doesn't seem like they have faith in Casey DeSmith. Rest of the stats: block shots 11-7 in favor of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Penalties 3 taken aside, as they are currently serving out a 4-on-4 with Mike Matheson and Taylor Hall, both in the box. Both teams 1 for 2 on the power play this evening. Goals by Sidney Crosby and David Pastrnak. Hits are 24-19 in favor of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Faceoffs are 25-13 in favor of the Boston Bruins. 7 giveaways from the Bruins, 5 for the Penguins. Takeaways are 9 from the Bruins, 5 for the Penguins. I would not be surprised in the least if all 5 of those giveaways for the Pittsburgh Penguins were at the hands of a guy named Chris Letang, because he's been giving the puck away basically all night. Horwat says, thoughts on the Pens Bruins Winter Classic rumor? Well, it is confirmed that the Boston Bruins will be in the Winter Classic. It is confirmed that the Boston Bruins will be hosting the Winter Classic. And it is also confirmed that the Winter Classic will be played at Fenway Park. I posted on at Iceberg Podcast, our Twitter feed, last week that the rumors were Pens Bruins, as Horwat has dropped in here, at Fenway Park. Half of that, actually 2/3 of that, has come to fruition, has been verified by Gary Bettman in the National Hockey League. The opponent is to be determined. If it is Penguins Bruins, I might need to make a road trip from Virginia up to Boston into Massachusetts, and I might need to go see that, because it's always been a dream of mine to go to Fenway Park. I also want to go to Yankee Stadium and Wrigley, all the main. Actually, I'd like to go visit every single ballpark. I'm pretty close to Camden Yards, so that might be a trip this summer if there is a baseball game ever played. But Pens Bruins, there's a little bit of fatigue because these two teams have played in so many outdoor games. Bruins themselves have had 4 Winter Classic games since it came back in 2009. The Penguins have played in 2 Winter Classics, I believe, but several other stadium series. Obviously, the home and home with the Philadelphia Flyers, and then they also played a stadium series against Chicago. It's just they've played so many outdoor games. There's a little bit of fatigue. But at Fenway Park, Pens Bruins is a newer matchup in that, as we can attest to tonight, it's a great matchup with a lot of marketable stars. I would love it, to be completely honest. I would. I loved the Winter Classic this year. I think the fact that they took it to Minnesota, St. Louis was great. I think it's nice that Carolina's getting a stadium series, but I don't mind Pens Bruins as the matchup. Let's see. Hikaru, I'll get back to that second one. I'll go in order here. Says, boo, should have been Bruins, Carolina in Hartford. That would be interesting. I don't know what stadiums or fields they have in Hartford that could host that event, but I'll do you one better. If you want to do a neutral site, and I don't want to see this again because it will be the third outdoor matchup between the two, but what they really should have done instead of a home and home, just do one outdoor game. Penguins, Flyers at Beaver Stadium. It was right there for the taking. Beaver Stadium holds more people than both Heinz Field and Lincoln Financial or whatever it's called anymore. But that really, it was right there for them. I don't know if Penn State wasn't playing ball with them or if they never tried it, but that really should have been it. Horwat saying Fenway Sports Group buying the Pens, though, it all makes sense. Oh, yeah, that's a lot of money for them. They're buying the Pens. They also own Fenway Park, obviously. So basically, they would be getting all of the money from that game. So that makes a lot of sense. Hikaru says, I never want to see the Pens in another outdoor game again, thanks to David Steckel hit. Well, they've played a couple since then. Crosby scored a couple goals, but I would not be upset if the Penguins never played another outdoor game. But I would also love to watch Penguins Bruins Winter Classic at Fenway Park. It's just one of those things. Isha says we need to see Calgary Edmonton on Lake. I'm going to say this wrong. Is it? It's Louise, Lake Louise, for a Winter Classic. You know, wouldn't be bad if it's the place that I'm thinking of, Isha. Then I agree, it would be great. I love the Lake Tahoe games, but honestly, I don't think we're ever going to see two Canadian teams play in the Winter Classic. It's just because the market. Maybe now that it's ESPN and ESPN's a little bit more open, and I think they've done a better job encapsulating the entire league. Definitely would have never seen it with NBC. So maybe ESPN and ABC, and I don't even know, does Turner get a Winter Classic at some point in this contract? I don't know. I don't remember. I don't recall at this point. But either way. Hikaru says, I know this is controversial to say, but I hate the idea of LeBron owning the Pens. It's okay. It is what it is. It gets more eyes on the Pittsburgh Penguins, especially from non-traditional fans, like basketball fans. If it gets more Penguins fans, it gets more Penguins fans, and that's the reason he's posting anything. Horwat, so the NHL did offer that game? Jeez. I mean, Penn State, it's not like Penn State needs it, but that would have been like Toronto, Detroit at the Big House. And obviously Toronto, Detroit at the Big House is one of the, greatest Winter Classics since it's came back. That would have been right up there. But you couldn't do that for a stadium series. That would have had to be the Winter Classic. Hikaru says Vancouver, Seattle at a site as close to the border as possible should happen. How close is, and I guess I can defer to Isha on this one if he's not prepping for his watch along, which will come up right after this one. In just about 1 hour, you will see Isha and Dylan live. You can find the link to that live stream also at the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. So I'd have to ask Isha, how close is Seattle to the border? Because you could play it at whatever it is, wherever the Seahawks play. Have that game there. That might be, I mean, I know Vancouver and Seattle are very close to begin with, but if you play it at the Seahawks field, it's not TIAA. That's a different field. Whatever it used to be something else. I don't know. But if you play it there, Whistler Mountain would be sick again. Isha, I'm not from Canada, man. I'll have to look all this stuff up. Send me a message of all these places so I can Google them after I'm off. But I am going to take Seattle's a 4-hour drive. Without border traffic. Okay. It's not awful. I mean, it's closer than Pittsburgh and Philly is. So it's not an awful drive, but it's probably closer than most NHL cities are together. But I'm going to take a quick break. When I return, we'll talk a little bit about this Penguins-Bruins matchup. We'll talk more about everything that's going on in the comments, so keep dropping those comments in there, and then we'll get ready for the third period between the Penguins and the Boston Bruins. I'll be right back. Welcome back to the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. My name is Nick Berlansky, host of the Tip of the Iceberg podcast, covering the Pittsburgh Penguins for the Hockey Podcast Network. Thank you to everybody that has joined thus far into the stream. We are heading on to hour number 3 of my portion of tonight's streaming from the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. But immediately after this one, you can tune in at 9:55 Eastern Time to Isha Jerome and Dylan Kaiser as they will watch along to the Vancouver Canucks taking on the Arizona Coyotes. So if you like the stream, make sure you drop a like. If you really like the stream, make sure you hit the subscribe button as we just surpassed 1,000. So no better time to work on the second 1,000 than right here tonight in the Penguins versus the Boston Bruins. Jay Caulfield's on my screen right now, which means we have one more commercial break before the third period begins, with the Penguins taking on the Boston Bruins. A 3-2 lead right now for the Pittsburgh Penguins on the strength of 2 goals in 28 seconds by Danton Heinen to bring them back to a tie game, and then a power play goal by Sidney Crosby to give them the current 3-2 lead that they are holding. Jumping into the comment section really quickly, Bengals for life says, what's going on? I like the Joey B, the Joey Burrow, the Joey Cool. Abby that you got going there says hello. Thanks for joining the stream. Andrew joining the stream. Don't worry about being late, man. You joined, and that's what's important. The good thing is we have plenty of streaming to go tonight. We got Isha and Dylan coming up right after me. I'm doing good. How are you doing? Thanks for joining, Andrew. Let me know how you're doing. I'm doing very well. This has been a great game so far, which means I'm in a great mood. So thanks for joining. Hikaru says, something just occurred. If the Penguins manage to shut the Bruins down somehow, don't want them putting themselves in danger, trying to force Sid's 500th. Yeah, that's some big brain stuff right now. I think if you're the Pittsburgh Penguins, you still got to keep your foot on the pedal a little bit. I don't think you can shell, because they've done that a couple times in the past, especially since the turn of the new year. They've shelled a little bit with a lead in the third period, and it hasn't ended up well. Obviously, they've had a couple of 4 or 5 goal leads that they let go away. But if you want to try to force Sid's 500th, I don't mind having it here. I don't mind them getting that here. I just don't want his 500th goal to be an empty net goal. So if they're going to score it, let them score it with Jeremy Swayman in net. Andrew, he's doing great. Thanks for joining, Andrew. Nice to hear that you're doing all right. Like I said, I'll probably see you in the comments section after this one. I'll probably be watching the live stream with Dylan and Anisha on there, and I'll be able to talk to everybody in the live section there and then the comment section there. But this game so far has been, majority at 5-on-5, except for some of that second period, very little of that first period. The Boston Bruins have been able to basically do what they want with the Pittsburgh Penguins, except they haven't been able to beat Tristan Jarry. The first period, David Pastrnak got the job done on the power play with 2 minutes into the game. He scores the first goal for them, goes down a little bit later, takes advantage on a 3-on-1 of a bad turnover by Chris Letang. He puts in the second goal. Bruins had a 2-0 lead after the first 20, and then Danton Heinen in his revenge game, he's taken 2 penalties, scored 2 goals. He's got a fun stat line tonight, and he has 2 goals that were able to tie it up within 28 seconds apart, and the Penguins were tied at 2. Then a little bit later, power play for the Pens. Brian Rust has a wide open net. He shoots it wide, hits the side of the net, follows his shot, though, makes a nice pass to Sidney Crosby, who scores his 499th career goal to give the Penguins the 3-2 lead that they have right now. Andrew, jumping in the comment section again, says, one thing I want to see is Josh again. When is he going to be live? I know he did just get back from a vacation. That's all I'm going to say on that because the rest of it is his private life. I don't know when he's going to have a live stream once again. We'll have to see. Maybe I'll have to ask him, but I do not, unfortunately, have that answer for you. But I do know that I know Dylan. Obviously, I've said Dylan and Anisha is going to come back and be on later tonight. I don't know who is on tomorrow, but I might be able to get that information for you a little bit later towards the end of the stream. City Life Project says, hey, Andrew. Oh, yeah, you guys are talking. You guys are talking to each other. Isles Girl says, hey, guys, what's going on? Isles Girl 3. Thanks for joining the stream here. We're watching Pens, Bruins. I don't think I have to ask. Well, I don't know. Who do you want to win this game? Because I know Pens and the Islanders, pretty heated rivalries, playoff matchups, but Bruins and the Islanders played last season. Let me know. Showing what you missed, which means the third period getting ready to be underway. It has been very entertaining, especially in that second period. Not only did the Penguins come back from down 2-0 to take a 3-2 lead, but there was a while there where it was very, very back and forth. Lots of open ice, lots of scoring opportunities on both ends. Jeremy Swayman and Tristan Jarry have had to be at the top of their game, especially Tristan Jarry, taking on 35 shots in just 2 periods of play. We'll have to see what happens here in the third period as they get set. Sidney Crosby's out there to take the draw against what I can only imagine is going to end up being Patrice Bergeron once they stop showing the solo shot of Danton Heinen here, looking for a hat trick. Before we get into the third period of play, Hikaru has another question. Also, I have to ask, of course, because he's real good people, but even though he's more of a Caps guy anymore, will we see Blosser on the podcast sometime? Oh, yeah. We'll have Richard back on the podcast. He is like the OG listener of the Tip of the Iceberg. Obviously, we have a list of people that have been listening and have been with us from the beginning, and Richard is right along there. He was one of the first listeners of the Tip of the Iceberg, so he'll be back on the podcast at some point here, especially when we got to talk a little bit about Puustinen and the AHL and the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. I know he covers the Hershey Bears for the Hockey Podcast Network, but he's always great on both Hershey, and he also has a lot of in-depth analysis of the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. Pittsburgh Penguins, I should say, have an opportunity here. Letang takes it in, shoots it, and it goes up and out of the play. Isles Girl says, both don't help us getting points. Fair. Just don't go to OT. Personally, you're for the Bruins. Have family who are Bruins fans that made you like them. Okay. Hey, fair enough there. I like that. Very thought out answer. Definitely don't need this game going into OT. If you're the New York Islanders, you need all the help you can get. If both of these teams could lose, I'm sure you would take it. Andrew said, Neil did 2 streams and Bob. I don't know when that was, but shout out to Neil if he did back-to-back streams. I know he did the All-Star game, which had to be like, no, I guess that was like a regular length stream, probably like a little bit longer. Seemed like a 4-hour stream, but somebody just got hit by a puck. Looks like Brian Rust is going to be hobbling off the ice. He took a hard shot, looked like in the side of the leg, but he's shaking it off there. He's going to get off the ice anyway. But they're laughing on the bench. Hopefully that he's all right. Doesn't look like he's having a great time, but nonetheless, the Penguins do not need another player to go down with injury. Hikaru says, always want to especially beat the Bruins just because my father became a Marchand fan ever since he went hunting with him. Oh, he went hunting with Brad Marchand? Wow. Nothing like taking your own live bait. That big of a mouse, I'm sure you could get a lot of stuff coming to your direction. I don't know why I said that. That was stupid. But no, that's really cool that he went hunting with Brad Marchand. I would certainly not turn that down. Although I'm not a big fan of hunting, I would probably still not turn down going on a hunting trip with Brad Marchand, at least to get the stories. That'd be awesome. Isles Girl jumps back in, says, if we're talking standings, better for the Penguins at this point as you fight against the Bruins for the wild card. Yeah, it's probably unrealistic that the Islanders are going to get one of the top 3 spots in the Metropolitan Division. At this point, the Bruins are the closest team, so you hope, here's an opportunity for Kasperi Kapanen. Been a while since he scored, sends a slap shot that Swayman blockers that away. But yeah, no, that's a good point. The Bruins are closer in the standings. If they lose, it's more of a chance that you can go up and get to them. That's going to be a penalty on the Bruins, by the way. Pens are about to head to their 3rd power play, 4th penalty taken by the Bruins of this game. Rick Smith joining the stream, says Ottawa up 4-1 over Carolina in the 3rd. Well, if you're a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, that is sweet music to your ears as they chase the Carolina Hurricanes, who would then have lost 2 straight games if they lose. The Ottawa Senators, 4-1 winners last night, up 4-1 tonight. Are the Sens about to go on a run? I know they have a lot of work to do to even come close to the playoffs, similar to the Islanders as we're talking about them. But are the Sens about to go on a run where they just ruin everybody's time? They're just a horrible time to play. I mean, the Penguins and Senators play on Thursday, so we'll see if they can keep that up. Obviously, they need to finish the job tonight against the Carolina Hurricanes. As I try to look and see who's in net for the Sens, I know last night it was Matt Murray, former Pittsburgh Penguin. He's played really well since coming up from his demotion in the AHL. Tonight it's Anton Forsberg with 31 saves on 32 shots for the Canes. So this has been interesting time post All-Star break so far for the Ottawa Senators. Penguins now on the power play, looking to extend their lead to 4-2, already 1 for 2 on the power play tonight. We'll see if they're able to do anything with it. Rick Smith says, think so. They are pesky. I mean, the last time they played, we all remember the last time they played. I shouldn't assume that everybody here saw that game. Last time the Penguins and the Senators played, it ended with Brady Tkachuk taking a run at John Marino with about 5 seconds left in the game, and John Marino ended up fighting. And Josh Norris was bleeding from his mouth. Whole bunch of stuff happening in that last matchup. So Thursday night should be pretty interesting, to say the least. Jakey jumping back in here with some UFC talk, saying Derek Brunson's going to dummy Jared Cannonier. I don't really know enough about those 2 fighters. Obviously, I've watched them a little bit, but I don't think I know enough about those 2 to be able to talk about that matchup right now. I've seen a couple Cannonier fights. I haven't really watched Brunson. I think that's the problem. I haven't watched a lot of Derek Brunson. Front Row Productions says, oh my. I wonder what that is too. I don't know if he's talking about the game at hand here or the fact that Jakey thinks Brunson's going to dummy Jared. I don't know which one, so we'll have to see. Hikaru says, Ottawa and their former Pens goalies, Murray and Gustafsson. Yeah, and tonight it's Anton Forsberg, who is not a former Penguin, but still, yeah, two former Penguins goaltenders for the Ottawa Senators. You know, I hate to say it. I don't hate to say it. I like seeing Matt Murray succeed there. It's nice. Jakey says Blonde Brunson is undefeated. I don't know if I can go against him then. You make a good point. If anybody can make a good case, I can be persuaded into taking somebody one way or the other. I'm probably going to avoid betting on that because I am going to bet heavily on the Super Bowl this Sunday. But I might throw a little bit of money on Adesanya or Adesanya. We went through that already today on this stream. Probably throw a little bit of money on him just because, that's almost a surefire bet at this point. I don't even know where the line is, but I'm sure I'm not going to make any money, honestly, if I bet Israel Adesanya. Bruins starting to cycle there. They're trying to get something going here as they killed a penalty. This game remains at 3-2, just about 5 minutes gone here in the third period of play. We're setting up for a really good finish between these two teams. It's been a great game the entire way through. Both have been really entertaining teams. I mean, the Penguins up to this point haven't given up a shot on goal in the third. So Tristan Jarry probably really appreciative of that, considering the work that he had to do through the first two periods. It's nice for him to be able to take the first quarter of the third period off without giving or having to face at least one shot on goal. But that's clearly not going to stay if you've watched any of the rest of this game here. The Bruins having some offensive zone time here. McAvoy takes a shot. That's blocked away. And the Penguins looking to clear it. Sends it out, gets it to center, just far enough for a clear. And Big Zed redeems a Horna, chases that down, gives it over to Heinen, looking for his hat trick goal. Not quite going to get it. That's deflected, and the Bruins quickly out the other way. Coming into the zone. That was close to an offside, but taken in by Bergeron nonetheless. They keep play going. Ruhwedel takes it for the Penguins, hands it off to his D partner in Matheson. Matheson just going to take it himself with a lot of open ice. He takes it into the Bruins zone, shuffles it behind Jeremy Swayman, and gets back into position. Anybody that's going to bet UFC this weekend, you can either fade or follow. Jakey says Brunson and Tai Tuivasa parlay. Okay. I don't hate it. I like Derek Lewis, but Tuivasa, watching his last fight, I don't know if it was his last fight. He might have had another one since then. But the one fight that I watched of Tuivasa was just an absolute monstrous showing. Penguins first line out there. They send it over. An opportunity there for Jake Gensel. That shot is blocked. He sends it back up to Letang. Letang trying to make something happen. Hopefully he doesn't turn the puck over like he's done all games long. He sends it across, goes to nobody, and Gensel able to pick it up. The puck goes way out to Letang somehow, changing through a lot of legs and sticks. Deflected there, and a beautiful opportunity by Brian Rust. Jeremy Swayman stays strong, and the score remains at 3-2 with 13:03 remaining. That puck was shot by Letang, deflected high by Crosby, and then taken by Rust, goes between the legs, just could not elevate, and Swayman able to get his big left flipper out there, makes the stop and freezes play as it remains a 3-2 game here as they head to break. But let me jump back into the comment section here. Hikaru says the Pens have pretty good track record of drafting goalies. Weirdly enough, when you think about it, even if they don't last super long, even DeOrio is looking okay in the AHL. DeOrio has had to simmer for a while because he's been AHL down to the E with the Wheeling Nailers, back up to the A, back down to the E. Now he's back up in the A, and he's playing pretty well, taking advantage of the Philip Lindbergh injury and kind of trying to move his way up, at least in the eyes of new management in Hextall and Burke. So we'll see what he thinks. But I'm trying to think of who is in charge of the AHL now, because it was Patrick Alvin, who is now out in Vancouver. So I don't know who took over there as the assistant general manager for the Penguins and who took over his responsibilities of watching over the AHL and being their general manager. Rick, lots of Detroit fans must be pissed Stafford's in the Super Bowl. I've actually seen the opposite, to be completely honest. I've seen a lot of Detroit fans very happy for Matt Stafford. I mean, some people have said, it feels like a piece of Detroit is in the Super Bowl. I don't know if I'd go that far. Certainly, I'm a Steelers fan. If I see former Steelers in there, sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm not. Last year, seeing Antonio Brown in the Super Bowl, I was not happy about that. But I feel like I've seen a lot of Detroit fans be happy for Matt Stafford, but some of them might be pissed. Some of them might be like, oh, you leave and you go to the Super Bowl. But if you look at it realistically, it's not like he played poorly for them. Most of the time, he played well, but had nobody alongside him. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited to watch it. I think it's going to be a really fun Super Bowl. Andrew says, what's happening so far? Pens had a power play early on, didn't really get anything going. Just had the best opportunity of the third period as Brian Rust went between the legs in front of the net, just couldn't elevate over Swayman's pad. And realistically, it's been just as good in this third period so far, 7 minutes in, as this entire game has been. It's been a really fun game to watch. And right now, Penguins trying to hold on to that 1-goal lead. We'll see if they can. Both goaltenders are playing stellar coming out here in the third period with just under 13 to go now. Play is starting up again. Hikaru says, hope I'm not being too much of a Penguins bias, girl. No, you're fine. You're fine. Listen, I will answer almost a question. I will answer a question about any single team in the NHL, certainly about the Pittsburgh Penguins. So you can keep firing away with the Penguin stuff. I appreciate any comment that comes into the comment section. I will talk about almost any comment that comes into the comment section, especially if it deals with hockey. I'll probably talk about everything that deals with hockey that you guys put in the comment section. Andrew says, what am I doing for the Super Bowl this Sunday? Well, first and foremost, I work in radio every Sunday from noon to 4. So I'll be working this Sunday again, noon to 4, pregame for the Super Bowl. But I do have a plans as some people are coming over for the Super Bowl. With 12 minutes to go, I'm going to take a real quick break. When I return, the end of this game between the Penguins and the Boston Bruins. Welcome back to the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. Apologies for that impromptu commercial break. One of my pets was getting sick, so I had to make sure I went and cleaned it up really quickly. But to get back to the conversation at hand, currently Penguins leading the Boston Bruins by a score of 3-2, 11 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in the third period of play. So far, goal scoring, that's not good for the Bruins. But Patrice Bergeron is down on the ice, and it might be a penalty for the Pittsburgh Penguins at a pivotal point in this game here. They keep showing Crosby. It might have, I don't know what happened here, waiting for a replay, but Patrice Bergeron looks a little bit dazed. Looked like it might have been head contact or something happened to him in the head. Crosby coming in, and Bergeron just, it looked, I don't know if that was an incidental contact, but Bergeron from about 4 feet away made a little bit of contact with Sidney Crosby, went into the boards awkwardly, hit the back of his head. That is not what you want to see if you're a Boston Bruins fan, and Bergeron will go down the runway and probably, I would imagine, not return. I'm sure he's going to be in concussion protocol after hitting his head like that. No penalty called there. I don't know if there would be anything worth calling there because it looked like it was incidental contact. Crosby going for the puck handler behind him. You could argue interference there because Crosby might have initiated contact, but it also looked like Bergeron did as well. So hate to see a player that good go down, especially in the midst of a really good game and also in the midst of a really good season for Patrice Bergeron as he performed in the All-Star game over the weekend. Let's see. What do we have here? Rick says, agree. Stafford had nobody. He really did. I mean, at least when he had Megatron, he had somebody, but then they refused to pay Megatron and lost him. So realistically, not good. Andrew says, who do I want to win? I like Joe Burrow. Joe Cool. I think he's going to be he is a really fun. Here's an opportunity. Craig Smith. Puck just gets right off his stick, and that's the type of opportunity you cannot lose. And I don't know if that's a Bruin stick that goes out, a 2-on-1 here. Crosby takes it in, shoots it. Oh, I thought that was goal number 500 for Sidney Crosby. I think it might have gone off the post, but a great opportunity for the Penguins does not go in, and Crosby is now sparring with a Boston Bruin in the Bruins defensive zone. We'll see what happens with that, but play is stopped here. Looks like a penalty, probably going to be roughing on Sidney Crosby. I'm probably going to root for the Rams because I'm going to bet on the Rams, but I'm not as sickened by the prospect of the Bengals winning as I thought I would have been. Rick says, doing ribs for a Super Bowl. Like to see Cincy, but thinking the Rams. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Cincy for the parity would be nice, but also I'd like to see the Rams get a Super Bowl. I'd like to see Matt Stafford get a Super Bowl. Ron says, I'm a tad bit behind. I know. I'm about 30 seconds behind, I believe. So bear with me on that. But either way, Rick, Sin bid for Sid. And Horwat says, I hope both Whippeal boys have a great games on Sunday, obviously talking about Aaron Donald from Penn Hills. I believe that's where he's from. And also Tyler Boyd from Clareton. I think that's where both of them will be back. Andrew, all right. I'll be anxiously awaiting your return as the Penguins head to the penalty kill. Bruins get on the power play. We'll see what they can do, especially without Patrice Bergeron, the captain, out there for that unit. Riley Price joining. Says, let's go Pens. Pens currently leading by a score of 3-2 on the penalty kill. This is a pivotal time. A nice play there by Brock McGinn to shuffle the puck out to center ice and force the Bruins to retreat back with 10 minutes gone in the third period. It is still a 3-2 game. Both teams holding pat. A nice opportunity there. Beautiful job by Taylor Hall to cut through the Penguins defense, but tries to send it back for some reason instead of putting it on Tristan Jarry, and the Bruins are forced to regroup at center once again. Marchand tries to take it in. He turns the puck over. And again, the Penguins get it to center ice, but do not get it the full 200 feet. That's something they're going to need to do here before the end of it as Pastrnak tries to take it himself. That should be another penalty. They're not going to call it. The Penguins get lucky on that one. That should have probably been another tripping call. Marchand takes the puck, looking up. Saucers a very soft pass over to Nick Foligno there. And then they start back again from 200 feet. Every time I see number 12 for the Boston Bruins, I start thinking it's Jerome McGinley for some reason. Just flashbacks of when he played for them. There's a nice play made by the Penguins penalty kill that sent the whole way down the ice, but quick up by Jeremy Swayman to get right back into things, but they go right back and give it to Matt Grzelcyk back in his own zone. Pastrnak takes it, sends it in behind the net, taken by Tristan Jarry, and he plays the puck perfectly out. It sends it the length of the ice, and just like that, the Penguins kill off the Sidney Crosby roughing penalty. 8.5 minutes to go here, and both sides are back to full strength. Crosby intercepts the puck in his own zone, turns, sends it up, looking for Brian Rust, does not get it. And they're going to call it an icing, which, okay, the referee's not doing a great job tonight if that's icing. I mean, there was a tripping penalty on the Penguins that they missed, and then they call an icing there. I don't know if that's supposed to be a makeup call, but it was not a great call. Ron says, I would love to see Stafford win the Bowl. The guy has been on a crap team his entire career. It would be a great story if, awful team, but still never complained. I mean, the guy never had a bad word to say about Detroit. Played there the whole time, and then finally gets to go to a team that has some talent, play with Cooper Kupp, put together a great season for Cooper Kupp, being the quarterback of one of the best receiving seasons he's seen since he did it for Megatron. So, I mean, there's one commonality between that. And then just be able to work with a guy like Sean McVay. I'm sure he's so happy about that. And I'm excited about the Super Bowl. Obviously, the last time the Rams were in the Super Bowl, it was a dud. But I think, not a dud. If you like defensive football like I do, I was pretty happy with that Super Bowl, but a lot of people were not. I think we're going to see some fireworks this weekend. I think it's going to be a good game. Bruins keep the puck in the offensive zone. Matheson taking his stick away from him. He tries to shuffle it forward. That's turned over. Puck is shot in front off of Matheson's stick again, and that goes in off of Tristan Jarry. Dangerous play there. Gensel's going to take it out, send it deep, and going to go for a change. Hikaru K says, I'm from Big 33 land, but even then, not much for high school football. Okay, what do we see? Horwat says, nailed the high schools. Both went to Pitt as well. Yep, both of those players. Were they both there the same years as James Conner? I feel like Aaron Donald left at the beginning of the James Conner era in Pitt. Same with Tyler Boyd. I don't know for sure, but that's what I'm thinking. Riley says, yeah, the Lions have never really been good. It's probably the worst organization in all of sports, to be completely honest. Hikaru K says, had an Iginla t-shirt from a short time with the Pens. As someone half black, he was someone I always wanted in Pittsburgh. Yeah, whenever he was traded to Pittsburgh back in 2012-13, that was peak Ray Shero right there. That it was something that I don't think anybody ever expected. You don't see trades like that very often anymore, where it's just like, hey, this guy is still really good, but he's old. We want to get him. Like, you could see it happen with Joe Thornton. It's not the same. Jarome Iginla came to Pittsburgh and was an absolute beast. I mean, the Penguins' power play was unstoppable, and their whole team was unstoppable in the month of March. And again, the only team to be able to take him out, even though they had to resort to Tomas Vokoun in net, was the Boston Bruins. Marchand trying to do a little too much, but that one's going to be turned over by the Penguins. Marchand takes it. This is where he could take over a game. Dishes a pass over to the defenseman and not able to get it through the Penguins defense there. They try to take it out of the zone. Awful clearing attempt by, who is that? Dom Simone. Yeah, if you're Mike Sullivan, Dom Simone does not touch the ice the rest of this game. Honestly, Dom Simone does not play on Thursday because of that play. Stupid turnover by him with 5 minutes left in the game and a 1-goal lead. Awful. I don't know. Why is he still out there? Why did he not go take a change? Get off the ice. I would play Valtteri Puustinen over Dom Simone on Thursday. I know Simone, I've been trying to give him props because he plays well at the position that he plays, but that was absolutely awful. Hikaru K also saying Bosma wasted Iginla playing him on his offside. The only reason it wasn't a total waste is because he was great in the power play. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I think the one thing that everybody always remembers is the power play, though. I mean, it was just outstanding. Ron says it's wild how much talent Pitt has put in the league, but they have been so crappy overall. Yeah, I mean, a couple of those players, I mean, you look at some of it. Oh my goodness, what a save! You guys all saw it 30 seconds ago, so I know that you've already seen it. But beautiful save made by Tristan Jarry, who is by far the star of this game for the Pittsburgh Penguins, absolutely robbing Tomas Nosek, showing it to him, a la Henrik Lundqvist. Beautiful save made by Tristan Jarry, keeping the Penguins in the lead there. But yeah, no, Pitt has put some you look at the way that James Conner grew this year, how he played for Arizona. You look at Larry Fitzgerald and the career that he had. Pitt has had some really, really stellar players in the National Football League, but not been great on their own right. Although they did just win an ACC title, and we'll see what Kenny Pickett's able to do in the league. So, looking in, echoing the sentiments of my boss here, Isha Jerome says, thanks everybody for joining in. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Watch-alongs every day of the week, including another one later tonight. Tune in to Isha's watch-along tonight as him and Dylan Kaiser go and watch along to the Vancouver Canucks and the Arizona Coyotes. But thank you to everybody for joining the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel stream of this game between the Penguins and the Bruins. Getting down to the nitty-gritty, just about 4 minutes remaining here in this barn burner of a game. Bruins 2-0 lead after the first period. Penguins storm back with 3 unanswered in the second, and that's where we are right now with both goalies standing on their heads to keep this score knotted. Well, not knotted, but keep this score where it is and knotted at 0-0 in the third period of play. Rick Smith, Carolina scored. That's 4-2 with 2 minutes left in an empty net. So barring craziness, it seems like Carolina is going to lose tonight. Faggio says, this is a Super Bowl that'll root for both teams. They both have reasons to deserve to win it. Okay, I agree. Burrow from his ACL tear to a Super Bowl, Stafford suffering in Detroit, first year in LA, and a Super Bowl. Either way, it's going to be a great story. Either way. But honestly, Stafford has suffered so much in his NFL career, and he's been so good and so underrated for so long. So I'd love to see Matt Stafford win it. Joe Burrow is going to have other opportunities. This might be his best opportunity, but he's going to have other opportunities, especially with all the talent that he has around him in Cincinnati. Ron, keeping me honest. Oh, Ron, closeted Pitt fan. Good to know. I'll have to remember that for the holidays and family vacation. Says Aaron Donald 2012-13, Tyler Boyd 2013-15, and Connor was 2013-16. So 1 year of overlap between all three of them. Okay. Hikaru says, speaking of Lundqvist, as great as he was, miss how all his most embarrassing moments came courtesy of the Pens. Yeah, he tended to lose it whenever the Pittsburgh Penguins were able to get to him, which sometimes they weren't. Sometimes he was great, but also there were some times where he just could not do anything against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and it was fun to see. Faggio talking more about the Super Bowl. Bengals from 2-14 and 4-12 to Super Bowl appearance. Rams in their first 10 years in LA, and they're in the Super Bowl. Burrow and Chase really does. Yeah, Jamar Chase has had a great season, but again, they're young. They'll have other opportunities. They showed they could beat Pat Mahomes. So, no, either way, it's going to be a great game. We don't have to wait till Sunday to watch a great game, though, in hockey, as we are seeing a great one this evening. 3-2 with 3:36 left in this one. Pens and the Bruins. Bruins right now playing without their captain, Patrice Bergeron, who hit his head off the boards. At least as far as I've seen, he has not returned to this game. And I would imagine he's in concussion protocol, but I don't know for sure. The Bruins have peppered Tristan Jarry in this game, not only with just a quantity of chances, but with quality chances as well. Especially, none better than that last one, wherever they wired one top shelf and Tristan Jarry was able to snag it with the glove. Tang, a nice play, turns the puck over. Sorry, didn't actually turn the puck over that time, but he forced a turnover. So he's had a rough night. Nice play made there with just about 3 minutes left to get the puck out of the zone for the Pittsburgh Penguins. You have to imagine Cassidy is starting to look down at Swayman's way. He might be coming out here probably with about 1:30 left. Bruins will be with an empty net, you would have to imagine. Nice play made there by Big Jeff Carter. He clears the zone. Zach Aston Reese is going to send it down into the Bruins zone and make him go the full 200. Two and a half minutes to go. Bruins starting from behind their own net, sending it out. Like I said, immediately following this game at 9:55. So in 22 minutes, make sure you tune into the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel to watch Dylan and Isha watch along to the Canucks and the Arizona Coyotes. But we're still 2 minutes away from the end of this one. Possibly more if it goes into overtime. There would have been an opportunity there for the Penguins, but somebody got bodied. Here comes Big Zed, redeems the Horna, sends it over to Heinen, 2-goal scorer on the night, but he's not able to settle it down and get an opportunity, and the Bruins clear it, but the Penguins take possession of the puck again, and Matheson's able to send it down. Less than 2 minutes to play now between these two teams. Absolutely fantastic game here. I do not want to see Sidney Crosby's 500th goal be on an empty net, so let somebody else score if they are. No, there's already a fourth goal on the thing. I wonder who scored it. Gensel leaves it up for Rust. Rust sends it to the empty net, and that's going to do it. The Pittsburgh Penguins take the 4-2 lead. 1:29 to go. There is an opportunity for the Bruins, but most likely the Penguins will end their 4-game losing streak, win in Boston for just the second time since 2014, and Brian Rust will stay hot with his second point of the evening. An empty net goal. Assist is going to go to Jake Gensel, who made two really good defensive plays in his own zone, then laid it up perfectly for Brian Rust, who the speedster is able to outskate Charlie McAvoy and put it into the yawning cage. Rick Smith says, game over, 4-3 in Ottawa. So Carolina made it interesting, but loses in regulation. So big for the Penguins, can get a 4-point swing on the Carolina Hurricanes. That's the type of phrasing we're going to have to start to use towards the end of this season, starting to look at 4-point swings in the top of the Metropolitan Division. There's one here tonight. Penguins, after falling a little bit behind the Hurricanes, it's nice for them right out of the gate to get one back. Letang sends it the length of the ice. That's going to be an icing. With a minute 15 left here, you know what I would like to see? Let's see Tristan Jarry get a shot at an empty net, or maybe even Danton Heinen get a shot at an empty net and his third goal of the game. Coming into this, we said the Penguins needed to win the special teams battle. They basically evened it out. Both teams got a power play goal. They stayed out of the box more so than the Bruins. The only person in the box for the Penguins was Sidney Crosby, and then Danton Heinen took 2 penalties. But they got the secondary scoring from Heinen. That's what they needed. They obviously got the top line scoring from Crosby and Rust as well, but they got what they needed when it comes to secondary scoring from Danton Heinen tonight. Great game by him, and also a nice couple of assists for Brock McGinn lower in the Penguins lineup. It's what they needed to see the last 4 games. It's what they were able to see in this one. Ron, happy about the empty netter. So is Rick Smith. Calls the empty netter there as well. 1:08 remaining in this game. We'll see if we get another one, or if the Bruins are able to make a comeback of it. Opportunity there. Beautiful save made. And is it in the net? They call no goal. What a save. They'll have to review that, but what a save if it was by Tristan Jarry. 10-bell save. I don't even have to wait till the end of the game. It is 100% Tristan Jarry, the first star of the night. Oh, yeah, he got across. It got past his top pad, but his back pad, good positioning, able to make the stop as Chris Letang lost track of Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall, another great opportunity tonight, but Tristan Jarry, number 1 star of the game. So if I'm doing my 3 stars, there's still 58 seconds left. I probably shouldn't do my 3 stars. But if I'm going to do my 3 stars, it's going to be third star of the game, David Pastrnak. 2 goals, almost had a couple more, played a really good game. Second star, going to be Danton Heinen, return to Boston, able to put in 2 goals in 28 seconds, bring the Penguins back to a tie game, and then get handed over to the majority of their goal scorers in Crosby and in Rust and in Gensel, letting them put the game away for them. And the number 1 star, who is still making saves as time is going on now, and that's Tristan Jarry, who makes another big save, stops it, and wow, Brad Marchand went in. That is gonna, what is going on? What is Brad Marchand thinking? Goes back after him with the stick. Yeah, that's not going to go well. If you're the refs, get Marchand not just off the ice, just get him out of the arena, because you're going to be withholding something. I don't know what Tristan Jarry must have said to Brad Marchand to tick him off like that. Just couldn't get past anything. Makes the save, holds it in. I don't know what he said, but Marchand came out of nowhere, punches Jarry in the face. Now, I don't know if Jarry kind of embellished that a little bit. That was in slow motion. Jarry, I don't know what's going on here between these two, but Marchand, obviously not happy that his captain's hurt, not happy that he's losing. And once again, Brad Marchand shows that, I love him. I don't love him. I think he's a great player, but he really is one of the worst losers in the National Hockey League. I don't know what that was all about. But Marchand is not happy at all to be losing this game. Mike Sullivan probably not happy about that either. I'm interested to see, because he's going to get asked about it. If he's not, then I have some words with the Pittsburgh media, but he's going to get asked about it. I wonder what he's going to say post-game about that little scrum from Brad Marchand, who does get a penalty. I'm sure he was sent down to the dressing room there, but wow. Yeah, that's a good point, Rick Smith. Usually he punched them in the face first. They probably usually just let that go with a roughing, but the fact that he went back for it and sticked him in the face before he left, that might get a fine I don't know if that's quite enough to get a suspension, but it might be a fine. 2 seconds and 1, down to double zeros. That's the final from TD Garden. The Pittsburgh Penguins defeat the Boston Bruins by a final score of 4-2. The goal scoring is as follows. David Pastrnak scored 2 minutes in on the power play, able to score a little bit later in the first period, and the Bruins led 2-0 after the first. Then in the second period, the Pittsburgh Penguins, Danton Heinen in his return to Boston was able to score 2 goals in 28 seconds to knot the thing up. A little bit later in the second on the power play, Sidney Crosby knots goal number 499 to put the Penguins on top. And that is all that Tristan Jarry needed as he shut things down for the Pittsburgh Penguins down to the last moment whenever he, for some reason, pissed off Brad Marchand. I don't know what he must have said, what he must have did, but Brad Marchand goes ape crap, gets tossed from the game, sticks Tristan Jarry in the face, punches Tristan Jarry in the face. I don't know what that was. We'll have to get some clarity on what happened between the Penguins goalie and the star from the Boston Bruins. But at the end of the game, of course, the Penguins tack on an empty netter, and that is it. My 3 stars of the game, I already mentioned them. Third star, David Pastrnak, 2 goals for the Boston Bruins. Second star, Danton Heinen in his return to Boston gets 2 goals in 28 seconds. My first star of the game, there's 45 shots on net for the Boston Bruins. It's my first star of the game is going to Tristan Jarry. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But that's going to do it for my stream here on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. Thank you to everybody that has jumped into the comments section. Obviously, Hikaru, Rick, Jake, Ron, Horowat was in here. Isha was in here. Andrew was in here. If I missed your name, I'm sorry, but we've had so much participation. I couldn't think of the word. We've had so much participation tonight. I appreciate it, but that is going to do it for me. Again, if you want more Hockey Podcast Network live streams, make sure you subscribe first and foremost. But secondly, we have another one starting in 13 minutes. So make sure you join Dylan and Isha as they will be watching along live to the Vancouver Canucks and the Arizona Coyotes. But that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys next time here on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel.